Her blade drags across the ground, carving a bright red line through the dirt as shattered rocks and dust explode outward in all directions. Injured, she sinks to the dirty ground. The enemy general looks down, sneering Li Yunzi. I respect you as a true hero. But you are wounded. Stop fighting me. Standing on his beast, he boasts in 1 month, the Rui state will conquer your Lichuan continent completely. If you are smart, you will surrender right now. She spits in silent contempt. Furious, he yells how completely foolish. In that case, I will take your life right now. And just like that, the mountain behind him erupts in giant flames. He spins around, totally shocked. Damn it. What is happening? A soldier screams in panic. General, our supply depot exploded. Massive fires rage at the granary, sending thick black smoke into the sky. Standing by his sword, Ji smiles after hiding inside the Rui state army for so long. I finally found the chance to burn down their supplies. A fierce shout echoes. Wu Tu is here to help our general break their lines and slaughter the enemy. Charge. Another shout rings out. Lingxiao City is here to assist. Kill them all. A panicked soldier screams. General, 2 enemy strike forces suddenly ambushed us from the sides, and they are wiping out our left and right flanks. Terrified, the commander yells, blast it. Fall back. Soldiers charge forward with loud cries. Severely injured, Li Yunzi leans heavily on her sword, standing amidst the bloodbath. She whispers weakly, they finally made it. Her strength vanishes. As she falls, Shuanger screams out in pure terror, General! Meanwhile, over at the mechanical fortress city, the clear voice of Huang Tong rings out, welcome everyone to the great mechanical city. She continues with a bright smile, let us give our warmest round of applause to welcome all the brave competitors participating in today's grand tournament. Holding up a detailed map, Huang Tong announces half of the total resources provided by our great factions are hidden inside this massive mechanism. All competing disciples are free to search the city. Once you find an item, simply light a signal flare and hand it over to the referee, and those resources will officially be yours. She adds, we keep a pack of highly aggressive ancient dragons inside. Their combat instincts are incredibly high. While hunting for resources, everyone must avoid them to prevent any fatal accidents. And here we go, the crowd begins filing into the mechanical city. Zhu Minglang asks, are you still worried about Lichuan? Nan Lingsha remains quiet, offering no response. He continues reassurances, do not worry. Our intelligence reports that Li Yunzi has successfully managed to halt the Rui state's offensive. Though she passed out from exhaustion, she woke up shortly after. I know she will strike back very soon. Nan Lingsha finally whispers, regardless of the cost, we absolutely must secure absolute control over the Lichuan continent during this competition. He points ahead, saying there is a fight over there, let us go see. Below a giant statue, a loud argument breaks out. We discovered this first. How can you steal it so shamelessly? Lu, he yells out in pure rage. Fool. In this trial, finders-keepers do not exist. Whoever is strong enough gets to keep the prize. Zhu Minglang murmurs that restricted box must be a valuable resource. Bai Qi, go and retrieve it for us. It spreads its wings and launches upward, leaving a lightning-fast trail of light as it cuts through the wind. It lands safely on the giant stone palm, spreading its wings wide with glowing eyes as it lifts the chest. Bai Qi flaps its wings and flies back, carrying the wooden box towards Zhu Minglang, who stands waiting with an outstretched hand. Zhu Minglang looks at the paper and gasps the land deed for Nyorn Vorthine. Holy crap, we just got a whole city. Lu Ha spins around in sheer panic as she realizes the valuable box has completely vanished. Oh no, she screams. Someone stole the brocade box. It has the city land deed inside. You say this is Nyorn Vorthan's land deed, but it is still enough to trade for some pretty good spirit resources. Let us keep it. But Lu Ha furiously barks back, keep it? Keep what? I hate weak-looking pretty boys like you the most, so you better hand over that land deed right now, or I will knock your teeth all over the floor. Nan Lingsha speaks up. Studying her robes, she is from the martial sect of your 4 great sects on the Kirkding continent, right? Zhu Minglang replies, exactly. I once fought one of their martial uncles, and their diamond indestructible body is pretty terrifying since normal weapons cannot even hurt them. Lu Ha sneers, absolute nonsense. With that scrawny body of yours, you actually claim to have fought our martial uncle? Who do you think you are? Huang Kan chimes in, yeah, there should be a limit to your boasting. Another man whispers in terror, oh crap, that guy looks like Zhu Minglang. We cannot mess with him. Let us get out of here fast. She charges forward with a loud scream, hand over that brocade box. Zhu Minglang flickers his wrist, sending an invisible force that flips the wooden box right back to Lu Ha. Wait, she is completely stunned. Shocked that he just gave it right back to her. Clutching the box, Lu Ha laughs triumphantly. See, junior brother? I told you so. That pretty boy does not have a single bone of manly courage in him. One shout from me and he submits immediately. He stays silent. But Zhu Minglang just sighs. Is there something seriously wrong with your head? Lu Ha snaps back. What? The box is completely empty. Huang Kane furiously charges forward, screaming, "You bastard, hand over the land deed right now." Zhu Minglang just smiles calmly. Bai Qi, glowing like a guardian on his shoulder, unleashes sharp ice shards to completely suppress the man's flames. Huang Kong clenches his fists tightly, gathering fiery energy into glowing rings around his hands. Lu Ha powers up, spraying blood and tearing her armor apart in a flash of red lightning. She screams, "You pathetic pretty boy. How dare you play me with an empty box?" She fully transforms into a raging beast, covered in crimson flames, with killer intent burning in her eyes as she yells, "Junior brother, get back!" Fire erupts all over Lu Ha with raging flames and glowing red eyes. Zhu Minglang calmly asks, "Did you not want that brocade box?" "Well, I already gave it to you." A massive pillar of fire explodes, blasting straight toward the ice shards. Charging straight into the sharp ice, she gets sprayed with blood while screaming, "Drop dead." Overwhelmed by absolute rage, she swells into a giant. He gasps in shock. Holy crap, she is that violent. Bai Qi spreads its wings, swirling with blue spiritual light, and charges straight at her. Suppressed by the blue spiritual energy locking her down, she screams in rage, "If you have the guts, fight me head on instead of playing tricks." Her eyes bloodshot and skin covered in frost, Lu Ha grits her teeth to endure the cold. Seeing thick sheets of ice completely freezing her body as her muscles spasm in the extreme cold, Zhu Minglang smiles, "Nice job." Huang Kan explodes in fury, flames erupting as he roars, "I will take you down with me." He clenches his fists, grinding his teeth, and charges with blazing energy. He stomps, sending sharp ice spikes bursting up from the stone floor. Before Huang Kan can even react, his arms are completely locked in ice. Zhu Minglang remarks, "How foolish, even your senior sister is no match for me, so who do you think you are trying to impress?" He turns to walk away but looks back to add that ice will take at least 2 hours to melt. Whether you get attacked by wild dragon beasts or other factions in the meantime depends entirely on your own luck. And yeah, good luck with that. He stands frozen like a statue, his mid-air punch completely stopped. The next morning, Zhu Minglang and Nan Lingsha are strolling through the courtyard when a sudden voice calls out from behind, "Young master, my lady." He looks down at the kneeling figure and asks Tun Dung, "Why are you here too?" She bows and replies, "Every faction can send 3 people to participate, so our Truk sect has absolutely no reason to leave a spot empty. Besides, your subordinate has confirmed that the Huang Thiu Banggang has gathered to target you, young master." Zhu Minglang asks, "Where are they right now?" Tun Dung answers their target is the land deed for Aolong Kok. She then continues, "The mechanism of this city is about to shift its layout. Young master, my lady, please follow me closely." Just then, a yellow spiritual force slams down onto the stone courtyard, exploding into a massive shockwave. The 3 leap over the wall, chasing a streak of sword light. Deep in a lush forest, surrounded by massive ancient trees, someone grumbles, "Damn it, whose stupid idea was this anyway? Hiding the box all the way out here means no one below master rank can get it, and these bees are way too dangerous." A massive beehive hangs from a tree, surrounded by a thick, buzzing swarm. The other man replies, "I have a plan." His ally asks, "What plan? Let us hear it." Gathering behind a cliff to plot, one of them speaks up, "We can lure Zhu Minglang out here and then stir up those angry bees. Hundreds of thousands of bees will definitely take Zhu Minglang down for good." Zhao Shi says that is a pretty good idea, but we should let other factions or rogues do the dirty work, so our Huangshao gang can just sit back and reap all the rewards. Hao Xiaokong smiles silently. Soon, they all burst into a smug, loud laugh. "All right, let us go with that." Standing on a branch and looking around, Zhu Minglang says this spot is not suitable to make a move. Qin Yang chimes in besides. They are probably waiting for reinforcements to arrive. Lingsha replies that is easy enough. She gently pulls out a mysterious scroll that she kept carefully hidden inside her robes. Lingsha unrolls it, sending spiritual energy surging as a bright light gathers around her entire body. At last, she finishes drawing the Qilin dragon. Lingsha shouts out, "Go!" Instantly, the beast charges toward them like a raging storm. One of them screams in panic, "What on earth is that?" The Qilin dragon slams hard into an ancient tree, violently shaking a massive beehive hanging under the sunlight. Countless bees swarm out, and suddenly, the furious insects pour from the nest like 4 dense black streams, shooting straight toward them. They scream in panic and scramble to run. Zhao Shi yells, "What are you just standing there for? Run, faster." Hao Xiaokong curses while sprinting, "Damn it, who is the bastard that dared to set us up?" Meanwhile, Zhu Minglang turns to Lingsha and gives her a thumbs up. "That was awesome." Running after them, he says, "I will go pursue Hao Xiaokong. You two stay back and monitor the situation, and find a chance to grab that brocade box from the tree." Qin Yang calls out after him, "Young master, please be careful." Running for his life, Hao Xiaokong pants, "Damn it, stop chasing me." The furious swarm stays hot on his heels right in front of the wooden cabins. Gasping for breath, Hao Xiaokong pants, "Oh my god, let me hide in here for a bit." He quickly bolts straight inside and slams the wooden door shut. After locking the door securely, Hao Xiaokong sits down and wheezes. Damn it, if I ever find out who poked that beehive, I will definitely tear him to shreds. Startled, his eyes bulge wide as he gasps out, how on earth did you get here? Zhu Minglang raises his blazing fiery sword, smiling confidently as he stands before Hao Xiaokong. Behind him, Bai Qi rises, radiating a bright, protective light. He speaks up, this place is pretty nice, is not it? If your father misses you later on, he can just come straight to this ancestral hall to pay his respects. Hao Xiaokong Ruarsinangir. Zhu Minglang, do not act so arrogant. Your Zhu family only has a tiny bit of power here in the imperial capital. Do not think that I, Hao Xiaokong, am actually afraid of you. Suddenly, he presses his sword against his neck. Hao Xiaokong instantly falls silent in fear. With the blade still pressed against him, Zhu Minglang asks, do you want me to do it, or will you end yourself? Gathering evil energy as dark power erupts around his hands, he snarls, damn you, you are the one who forced my hand. You can feel the tension here. Zhu Minglang narrows his eyes, sensing a violent disturbance right in front of him, before leaping back to dodge an explosion of thick white smoke. Hao Xiaokong channels his energy to summon his beast, the Yangma Zilong, laughing smugly as it appears. My Yangma Zilong is a high-tier dragon. What do you even have to fight me with? Without your sword cultivation, you are nothing but a useless cripple. Zhu Minglang looks grim as his crimson blood eyes open. He summons a dark, crimson demonic spear into his hand. With murderous intent burning and spiritual power surging, he merges with the demonic weapon. Fire and lightning intertwine like a raging storm. Drenched in cold sweat from terror, Hao Xiaokong watches as a single spear strike crashes down, blooming a fiery sigil as bright as the sun, sweeping the entire sky. Before his summoned Yangma Zilong can even counterattack, Hao Xiaokong is left dazed, staring blankly without blinking. He screams, spitting out a fountain of blood as Zhu Minglang lands a fatal blow. In pure terror, he clutches his severed arm, his eyes rolling back in shock as he gasps, completely speechless. Hao Xiaokong collapses, thinking to himself, damn this cursed soul backlash. He simply cannot believe his eyes, desperately muttering, this is impossible. Was not your sword cultivation completely ruined? Zhu Minglang calmly replies, even if I am truly ruined, ending a despicable worm like you is still as easy as turning my hand. Terrified as the sword tip approaches his neck, he begs loudly, do not kill me, I am just a pawn. It was Zhao Yuanjie who said that whoever kills Zhu Tong will get the soul jade. I have no personal grudge against Zhu Tong. The ones who wanted Zhu Tong dead are Zhao Shi and Zhao Yuang. He asks in a chilling voice, when you murdered Zhu Tong, you knew very well that vengeance would come, right? Groveling at his feet, Hao Xiaokong desperately begs Zhu Minglang. I will tell you a massive secret, just please spare my life. You can cut off my arms and legs. My crimes deserve that much, but please, I beg you, just let me live. Zhu Minglang grabs him by the hair, growling, spit out the secret first. Hao Xiaokong whimpers the documents regarding the Lishuan continent are hidden inside this mechanical city. He demands, where exactly are the Lishuan continent documents? Tell me, and I will only cut off your arms and legs. Terrified, he quickly blabs out they are at the Jujun tomb, and all the other rare spiritual items are also near that area. As Zhu Minglang walks away, he does not forget to glance back and say as a man, the most important thing is keeping your word. I promise to only sever your limbs, and I definitely will not kill you myself. I wish you the best of luck. Lying there with his limbs severed, Hao Xiaokong screams in agony, help me! Zhu Minglang, get back here and save me! Suddenly, the swarm of bees finds him, making him shriek in pure horror, no! Screaming in utter hatred, Hao Xiaokong howls, damn you, Zhu Minglang, I will haunt you even as a ghost. Huang Dong carries Hao Xiaokong's corpse back to report the news. Lord Hao Yong, your son was killed by the Rongfeng demon. Please do not grieve too much. The old man gasped in shock as the spirit beast dropped the lifeless body onto the ground. My son, he cries out, staring at Xiao Tong's mangled face. Your death was so brutal. It must have been that Zhu Minglang, he definitely murdered you, and I will tear him apart to avenge you. Huang Tong speaks up, Elder Hao. His strength just was not enough, and fate is fate. If you were not prepared for this, you should not have sent your son here. Hao Yong from the Zealand sect drops to his knees before Protector Ni, begging for help. Protector Ni, you have to help me. You must seek justice for my boy. Sovereign Chong then speaks up. My brother, Xiao Tong, was a disciple of our Zealand sect, so I will help you settle this score. He declares I will command every single disciple of our Zealand sect to hunt down Zhu Minglang and kill him on sight. Purple signal smoke winds its way up the stone wall while the giant spirit bird circles overhead. Huang Tong smiles, the real show is about to start now. Someone nearby asks, is that a signal beacon? Qin Yang replies, yes. This trial requires gathering 5 tiers of rare chests, ranked white, yellow, green, purple, and red. It looks like someone just claimed a purple one. Zhu Minglang grins, so is the legendary red treasure next? Let's head over and check it out. Now look at this chaotic scene. Down at the ruins, the angry crowd is yelling Yun Jonghae, hand over that chest right now. Exactly. No matter how strong you are, you can't fight all of us at once. Just give up already. Qin Yang whispers, you must know him, young master. Lingsha adds, he is from the Yaoshan sword sect, and he is way stronger than Zi Miaozhu. Zhu Minglang shrugs, he is alright, just incredibly boring and full of himself. Yun Zhonghe, the top disciple of the Yaoshan sword sect, sneers, you think you lot can stop me? He steps forward, his movement creating afterimages as his sword aura floods the area. 3 bright beams of sword light plunge straight into the rocky ground, activating a hidden array. The intersecting light forms a blazing star array, forcing the howling beasts back. Someone screams, damn it, we need to attack him together. He is too fast, we can't even touch him. Yun Zhonghe flashes forward, slashing right through a shield and spraying blood everywhere. He descends like a ruthless executioner, slaying his foes without blinking. He mutters cold-bloodedly, just a bunch of absolute trash. Watching from her spirit bird, Huang Tong gasps, impressive. She then calls out, as expected of the Yaoshan sword sect's top disciple, now hand over that chest to me. Yun Zhonghe replies, hold on, do I have to clear out every single obstacle around here for this to officially be mine? Huang Tong calls back, there is literally no one left within 100 miles who can still stand and fight you. He smiles, yet I still see a major threat standing right inside my 100-mile range. Yun Zhonghe smirks, how have you been, little martial uncle? Zhu Minglang casually cleans his ear and mutters, not too bad. He continues, this mineral ore is worth a fortune, so surely you want to fight for it too, right, little martial uncle? Or are you just hesitating because of the ties between the Zhu family and the Yaoshan sword sect? Honestly, I would love to just give it to you, but do you even have the strength to take it? Zhu Minglang replies coldly, are you looking for trouble? Yun Zhonghe mockingly answers, I would not dare, but I heard the sword sect told you to return, and you brought back those trash swords, looking like a total garbage collector. Zhu Minglang sighs honestly, when your brain is not short-circuiting, you actually carry yourself quite well. Balancing the deed on his sword, Yun Zhonghe challenges him, if you want this deed, little martial uncle, come and get it. Qin Yang snaps angrily, Yun Zhonghe, if you do not want to help my master win, then just get lost. Why point your blade at him? He sneers back, I have not even made a move. If he wants it, he can just reach out and grab it. How could I ever stab someone who is completely unarmed? Zhu Minglang cold-bloodedly snaps, I have not dealt with you in a while, so you think you are tough now? Zhu Minglang raises his hands, channeling a surging red and gold energy aura. Lingsha quickly steps in to grab his hand, wait, watch how she handles this arrogant punk for him. She steps forward not long ago. I saw the sword techniques of your Yaoshan sword sect, and frankly, they seemed pretty mediocre. Yun Zhonghe snaps furiously, pretty mediocre? He roars, do not think that just because you beat Zi Miaozhu, you can look down on all the disciples of our Yaoshan sword sect. A brilliant golden sword beam slashes through the air, but she effortlessly tilts her head, dodging it with an entirely bored look. Lingsha quickly forms a hand seal, unleashing a burst of dark light that summons a spectral gate right in midair. She commands thousands of beasts to swarm Yun Zhonghe. He growls, slashing furiously at the beasts' die. All of you! Suddenly, spectral hands rise up and tightly grab Yun Zhonghe's ankles, making him gasp in horror, what on earth is this witchcraft? Furious, Yun Zhonghe slashes his sword to break the purple claws wrapping around him. He kicks off his hilt, leaping backward to build momentum for his next big strike. A deep green spiritual gate swings open, pulling in all the spectral shadows rushing at him. Yun Zhonghe lands on a rocky spire, keeping the gate floating beside him like a shield. Lingsha giggles, this is hilarious. I have heard of flying on swords, but I have never seen anyone ride their sword just to land on the ground like that. He stays silent, focusing his spiritual energy to prep for a massive counterattack. Suddenly, Van Trung Ha lets out a roar echoing across the area. Standing on a rocky peak, he gathers energy to manifest sword shadows from all directions, pulling a glowing blade down from the heavens. A glowing red Taiji diagram bursts behind him as Van Trung Ha raises his longsword, screaming, damn it, you dare play me, hand over your life. But Zhu Minglang just chuckles all these years later, and you are still pulling the exact same garbage tricks. He sends his clones swinging blue swords in a relentless assault against her. Van Trung Ha grits his teeth, you want to use Zhao Sun Kim Tong's own Bagua platform against me? Talk about overestimating yourself. Zhu Minglang shakes his head, oh Van Trung Ha, when are you finally going to drop that massive ego? Even the sacred Bagua stone platform of Zhao Sun Kim Tong, if she can paint that, what kind of secret formation could she possibly not recreate? Talk about stupid. He stares in absolute shock, completely refusing to believe his eyes. Van Trung Ha screams out, impossible. How could you possibly know Zhao Sun Kim Tong's ultimate sword sect formation? A brilliant golden sword erupts right in front of him, shooting straight into the heavens. It turns into a blinding streak of light, arcs sharply, and rocket dives back down. It crashes down, shattering the cliffside with a deafening rumble. Now watch this. The massive golden sword slams down, bursting into flames to form a crushing mountain of blades. Von Trungha grits his teeth, desperately struggling not to get flattened. Nan Lingsha stands within 3 pillars of red, purple, and blue sword light, ready to deliver the final blow. While he remains trapped under the rock, a blue sword descends from the sky right towards her. Nan Lingsha swings, blue sword energy erupting under her feet as sweat pours from her brow. Von Trungha trembles, desperately trying to hold on, his eyes filled with panic. Suddenly, a blue pillar of light tears through the golden fire and impales him. Von Trungha screams out in agony. Blown back, he struggles to stand amidst the shattered rocks, his face twisted in pure rage. The sharp blade flies straight at him. Von Trungha gasps, "Is this really the terrifying power of our own sword sect array?" He screams as the sword tip stops inches from his face. "I am the head disciple of Jiaosan Kim Tong. How could a mere painter defeat me?" Nan Lingsha calmly speaks for this formation. "I only painted 4 swords and unleashed 3, yet you have already lost." Coughing up fresh blood, Von Trungha stares in shock and mutters, "I admit defeat." Back at Jiaosun Academy, Von Trungha bows to his uncle. "This disciple has deeply disgraced our Jiaosun Kim Tong." Ngo Fong chuckles, "It is fine." He continues, "Everyone in the imperial court knows that Zhu Minglang is the true face of our Jiaosun Kim Tong." Those words feel like 1,000 arrows piercing his heart. Suddenly, 2 streaks of purple and red smoke shoot into the sky. Von Trungha gasps purple and red. He continues, "Zhu Minglang is over there." Could he actually have the premium treasure box in his hands? Huangdong steps up Zhu Minglang. "Hand over both the purple and red boxes to me. Once we deal with the surrounding dangers, only then will those boxes truly be yours." He calmly replies, "The red box is not in my possession." Surprised, she asks, "If you do not have it, then why on earth did you fire that signal flare?" Zhu Minglang points behind him because... He chuckles because it is currently sitting right in their hands. Huangdong thinks to herself, "Is this Zhu Minglang trying to use the red flare to lure everyone here and wipe us out in one go?" He declares out loud, "Everyone, every single box you are holding, I, Zhu Minglang, am taking them all." "Wait, hold on," the crowd below erupts in confusion. "What is going on? We came here to rob them, so how are we the ones getting robbed now? Is this Zhu Minglang completely out of his mind? Damn it, there are only 3 of you. How do you expect to rob all of us?" He twists his wrist, weaving a seal as a swirling green and gold energy vein erupts. Zhu Minglang commands Bai Qi, "Hey ya, Thantrak, wipe them out." Nan Lingsha draws her paintbrush, sweeping her hand to channel purple energy into a brilliant line of light. Raising her staff to the sky, she casts a spell that sends talismans flooding the air. From her purple array, massive stone pillars spike upward, locking down the entire battlefield. The crowd panics in absolute horror. "Good heavens, what on earth is this?" Huangdong mutters, "We are trapped. Nobody is escaping this." Chaos erupts in the crowd as they scream, "Damn it, you actually dare to trap us here? Do you seriously think we are just useless trash? Damn it, you have got some nerve being this arrogant. You arrogant punk. I'm going to steal every single one of your boxes. Now taste the power of my lightning talisman." Panicked, a cultivator forms a defensive seal, wrapping himself in golden light. Suddenly, a dark lightning talisman pins itself right onto Heiya's snout, its ancient golden glyphs bursting to life. High above, a sword of lightning tears through the night, clouds and plunges straight down. The deafening blast erupts in a blinding flash, turning shattered stone into a sea of fire. Heiya gets slammed down into the debris as smoke and fire swirl around. One attacker points and laughs triumphantly. "How dare a mere dragon-tier general show off in front of our talisman sect?" Suddenly, Heiya's tail whips down like a massive sledgehammer, cutting through the air with fiery speed. The smug fighter gets swept instantly, his head slamming hard against the spiked tail as blood sprays everywhere. Arching its back, Heiya swings its tail again as its violent aura explodes. With rolling lightning crackling around it, the beast opens its jaws and unleashes a massive pillar of lightning fire. Terrified, the young lady screams, sweat dripping down as she witnesses the blinding explosion. A loud scream rings out as a blinding column of lightning crashes down like a storm, shattering the ground and blasting stone fragments everywhere. Zhu Minglang and Qingzhuo arrive with an absolutely overwhelming aura, weaving thousands of branches into a massive, swirling spell array that completely locks down the entire battlefield. Panic shouts erupt as a monster appears. "Let's all charge and kill it." It is a Mingguang wolf dragon, a high-tier dragon lord at that. Fantastic, those guys are dead meat. The Mingguang roars as its forehead sigil blazes, lightning wrapping around its body. It unleashes a devastating crimson beam, tearing the battlefield apart to vaporize the enemy. Right then, Zhu Minglang appears safely beside the wood element spirit beast he summoned earlier. He is leaning casually against its massive branch. Suddenly, a beast swoops down, thrusting its sharp claws straight at him. Qinyang gathers freezing frost in her palms, ready to strike. A blue sigil blazes on the beast's forehead as she screams back off. You filthy beast! Qin Yang delivers another powerful blow, shouting out, "Don't you dare think of hurting my young master." Mu Ling unleashes glowing green roots to bind the green-armored beast, pinning it to the ground while its master quickly retreats. Mu Ling's giant fist, crackling with green electricity, punches the enemy head-on. The beast screams as massive roots whip it, spilling blood from its mouth. The giant tree erupts, shooting down countless green roots to trap the beast in a tight cage. They scream in utter terror, "A pinnacle-tier dragon lord? How on earth can a triple bloodline dragon have this much power? With this kind of overwhelming force, he's already won." Seeing it charge, they panic and shout, "Run! What are you standing there for?" Giant, demonic roots sweep across, blasting the group through the dust. Black lightning forms a cyclone, sucking the beast into the storm as screams erupt. "Oh my goodness, look at this." Lingsha and her purple thunder dragon emerge, roaring to dominate the entire field. The panicked red-robed guy gets dragged away by black lightning. He screams in terror, "Oh my god, we are outside the fortress walls." Ruo Cheng raises his voice. This Zhu Minglang is so young yet incredibly cunning and devious, showing how rotten his character is. But Wu Feng immediately speaks up. He boldly ignites the signal flare, completely disregarding the enemy's numbers or actual strength. He is decisive, brave, and highly intelligent. So how on earth is he cunning? I think you Xylan sect disciples should just go home and play in the dirt. You cannot win anyway. Zhang, he gasps in shock, martial uncle. Look, Zhu Minglang has lit another red signal flare. He laughs out loud. Excellent. This kid robbed them clean. Brave and decisive. He's almost as good as I was back then. He silently wonders, how come I have never heard of martial uncle being as wildly arrogant in his youth as Zhu Minglang is now? The crowd erupts again. Damn it, what are those kids getting so worked up about? It is a trap. This is a total disaster. The treasure boxes we fought so hard to get are about to be stolen by Zhu Minglang. Where are the genius disciples of the other great families? Why is nobody stepping up to stop this demon Zhu Minglang? He grins proudly at his new fortune. It is a pity there are not many precious boxes left, or else keeping up this streak would be amazing. Looking at Huang Tong, he asks, "Is it all right to hand these boxes over to you now?" She replies, "Yes, that is fine." Zhu Minglang nods, "Perfect. Let's head to the Jujun tomb." Huang Tong points out, most of the people still remaining inside the fortress city have reached the high-tier master realm. Qin Yang warns that at the Jujun tomb, the young master must act with extreme caution. He then asks, "Do you know if anyone truly outstanding is there?" She replies, "Huo Shangjun." Huang Tong folds her arms, sighing over how they can possibly handle a monster like that. "So we need a dragon." A voice nearby explains that Huo Shangjun is actually the highest disciple of the Xylan sect. Word has it both his Ziyun dragon and Jingqiang dragon are already sovereign level. Zhu Minglang asks in surprise, "Sovereign level? That matches my own power when I first left the mountain." The stone statue is carved in the likeness of an old general holding a red box. High on the mountain peaks of the Jujun tomb, these sword-wielding statues ruthlessly strike anyone who dares take a step forward. One guy leaps high to dodge a massive stone axe while screaming for his life. Walking alongside her subordinates, Zhao Shishi warns that these giant general statues will violently attack anyone who tries to steal their precious boxes. Everyone must be careful. Terrified out of his mind, one man grips his weapon and frantically cries out, "Save me. Please do not just leave me here." Zhu Minglang snorts coldly. They cannot even defeat a stone statue yet want to steal the boxes? Trapped between two giant statues, the man struggles desperately to break free. "Whoever saves me, I will give them this purple box." Suddenly, a beautifully carved stone foot tears through the air at high speed. The stone foot impales his back, making his eyes roll back as he violently coughs up fresh blood. His body collapses heavily onto the ground, and the purple box returns to the statue's hands. Leading the front line is Fu Sumi, the top disciple of the Kenglong Palace. Drenched in cold sweat, he realizes the sheer strength of these giant stone statues easily reaches the sovereign level. This looks tough. His face darkens with pure terror. "Look over there," someone yells. Everyone looks up at the sky, where a strange object is slowly approaching the square. Zhu Minglang quirks his lips, flashing a smug, confident smirk. He raises his voice with powerful energy as he rides Thon Truck, soaring right past all of them. "Every single treasure box on this Ku Quan Moor mountain belongs to me, Zhu Minglang." Down below, amidst the rising dust and smoke, the crowd instantly freezes in absolute shock upon hearing his words. "What?" Before they can even react, Zhu Minglang lightly leaps, launching himself off the back of Thon Truck. He lands gracefully on top of a giant stone statue. Looking around with pure contempt, Zhu Minglang shouts, "Anyone in my sight right now, get lost." Seeing his arrogant attitude, one of the cultivators yells out in anger. Most of the fighters and beasts on Ku Quan Moor Mountain are High Lord tier. Zhu Minglang is being way too arrogant. Just like that, the crowd splits into two. I do not know about that. If Zhu Minglang did not have absolute confidence, he would not make such a bold claim. Someone nearby sneers. Confidence? He is just a cocky, loudmouth show-off who likes to talk big. The envoy from Sung laughs so hard his eyes squeeze shut, asking if this is the brilliant, brave genius they kept praising. To him, this kid is just seeking his own death. Ngo Fong simply responds with a knowing, highly mysterious glance. The battle has barely begun, so don't get ahead of yourself. But check this out, Trier Duan Kak is already plotting something nasty in the background. Looking down from above, Zhu Minglang easily spots the fools who are looking down on him. Well, I wondered who it was. Turns out it is just Zhu Minglang. Triel Thun sneers with wide eyes. I have heard for a long time that you are arrogant and look down on everyone. Looks like the rumors are true. You really are just a conceited brat. Huamauer channels his spiritual energy straight into. With a swift wave of his fan, he summons a massive purple dragon with sharp fangs. That is the purple fire-blue dragon, a peak lord-level beast. As its eyes glow, the dragon unleashes a massive roar, shooting brilliant rings of purple light from its jaws. The rings expand rapidly, filling the entire sky. Meanwhile, little Bai Qi hovers nearby, waiting for Zhu Minglang to give the word. Bai Qi, cool this guy down a bit. Flapping its wings, it rises into the air, creating thousands of sharp ice shards hovering in the sky. With a sharp screech from Bai Qi, the deadly ice shards rain down. The purple dragon roars back in retaliation, unleashing an even brighter flash of violet light. The two massive forces collide mid-air, creating a shockwave that blows away everything in sight. Huamar, drenched in cold sweat, struggles to even speak a word. Damn it! The purple fire-blue dragon is clearly no match for this white ice dragon. Seeing this, Trio Hai commands with murderous intent, Doku, kill Zhu Minglang right now. Gathering spiritual energy into his arms, Doku drops low, channeling all his strength into his legs. Suddenly, the ground shakes violently as Doku launches himself upward, shattering the rock beneath him. He pulls his arm back to build momentum, a sharp ring of violet light slicing through the air. Triel Duan Kak narrows his eyes, letting out a sinister chuckle. Zhu Minglang suddenly turns his head in suspicion, wondering if it is a puppet. Look at that dodge. The purple beam completely shatters the statue's head, but Zhu Minglang easily leaps high into the air. Landing lightly back on the ground, Zhu Minglang lowers his head against the heavy shockwave. Suddenly, a cold voice echoes from within the thick smoke. Zhu Minglang, for the past few years, I have spent every single day plotting how to kill you with my own hands. Trier Duan. Kak pours out his burning hatred through Doku, thrilled to finally get his chance today. Zhu Minglang raises an eyebrow in sudden realization, muttering that he wondered who it was. Trier Duan Kak, you hid yourself pretty well. Must have taken you a lot of time to craft a puppet like this, right? I bet it has done plenty of tasks for you, like carrying on your family line, perhaps? His face darkens as he delivers the brutal mockery. But if you actually manage to have an heir, is that kid yours, or did the puppet do the job for you? Driven completely mad with rage, Trier Duan Kak screams out, demanding that Zhu Minglang die right now. In a flash, Doku vanishes from the stone statue, moving so fast that onlookers can only track a faint afterimage. Doku's arm suddenly swells up, and he lunges forward, aiming directly for Zhu Minglang's head. Suddenly, a thin streak of golden light flashes by, and a mocking smile plays on Zhu Minglang's lips. Sensing a terrible sense of dread, Doku freezes in sheer panic as hundreds of sharp violet beams erupt all around him, instantly slicing his entire body into pieces. Far away, Trier Duan Kak covers his mouth, struggling desperately to hold back the blood threatening to spill out. Zhu Minglang firmly grips his hot iron sword. If slicing your limbs off once does not teach you a lesson, then I will gladly do it again. Looking off into the distance, he shouts to Bai Qi to stop playing around and finish this quickly. Hearing the order, Bai Qi lets out a soft cry, its eyes turning razor-sharp and cold. Bai Qi violently flaps his pure white wings as ice shards continuously pierce through, leaving Tu Hua bleeding and battered. Huamaru immediately spits out blood, staining the defensive fan right in front of him. Trio Hai angrily grinds his teeth in fury, spitting out a bitter insult. Absolute trash. Zhu Minglang guides his flying sword through a few loops, casually warning them all to get lost if they value their lives. Sweeping his left hand, a golden spell seal suddenly materializes in the air. Then, his right fingers gently glide to form a second seal, glowing a deep purple. A massive four-toed claw covered in gold scales stomps heavily onto the solid rock. Two dragons materialize out of nowhere, starting with a dual-horned golden dragon. This beast is a lower lord class Kim Kung Long, an intimidating single-horned black dragon. That one is a standard lord class Tu Van Long. Now, Huak of the Tu Lam sect steps forward in his purple cloak to issue a direct challenge. He declares that years ago, Zhu Minglang dared to challenge the Tu Lam sect when he was away, but today is the perfect chance to settle that old regret. Suddenly, heavy boots stomp down with brutal force. A deafening, bone-rattling screech echoes everywhere. Dirp Kwang from the Thun Pham Academy steps up, flexing his muscles with insane confidence. He mocks them, saying he has never seen anyone quite this stupid, so they should let him fight first. Draped in a cassock and clutching prayer beads, his mouth always recites his sacred mantra, Amitabha. Stepping out from the swirling dust cloud is the powerful kick monk Dung Hoa of the Haroki Vortong. He shuts his eyes as if entering a completely different state of mind. Nearby, On Morng-nu from the Mio Song Kim Tong furiously unsheathes her blade. She fumes that Zhu Minglang once stabbed her, so today she must get personal revenge. But Zhu Minglang just grips his sword, calmly facing them without a care. Oh, he is actually going there. He says he hates wasting time, telling them to all fight him at once. An annoyed onlooker crosses his arms, muttering that Zhu Minglang is way too arrogant. But the girl next to him is already staring with total hard eyes. She squeals that he is so cool, while Tonglam presses his fingers together to summon smoke, sending the Tu Vanlong straight into battle. The beast is covered in pitch-black scales. Its eyes crackle with electricity as it charges forward with pure rage. Zhu Minglang spins his sword, Thon Mok Ta, and a massive flaming dragon head erupts behind him. Tonglam breaks into a cold sweat. Realizing this is the legendary sword spirit, he desperately waves his hand, screaming for the dragon to retreat immediately. Sensing the deadly danger, the beast turns back, its eyes wide with absolute panic. Zhu Minglang's eyes ignite with bright light. Come on! Gripping the hilt with both hands, he pulls his arms back. In a split second, the massive dragon crashes violently into a stone statue, shattering the structure to pieces. Dirp Kwang clenches his fists in sheer rage, yelling that he will take over. He channels raw spiritual energy into his fists, ready to take Zhu Minglang's life. Zhu Minglang thrusts his blade forward as the fiery dragon head charges. Looks like another fool is lining up to die. Dirp Kwang's fist slams directly into the sharp sword tip, causing their massive energies to clash. Damn it. His eyes narrow with absolute contempt as he asks, "Is this really all you have?" Veins pop all over Dirp Kwang's face in pure rage. He absolutely hates how smug and arrogant Zhu Minglang looks right now. Panicking as the sharp blade inches closer, Dirp Kwang curses and retreats dozens of meters, but the weapon keeps chasing him relentlessly. How can a mere sword spirit possess such an insanely overwhelming amount of power? With the blade now practically brushing his face, his body freezes in sheer shock. Thinking he is dead, Dirp Kwang desperately jerks his head aside, but the sharp steel still grazes his neck, slicing the skin. He screams in agony as the heavy sword slams into the ground, while Tonglam charges in riding his sand-spitting Kim Kong Long. Zhu Minglang's sword is sent flying high into the sky, where it gracefully glides right along the swirling stream of sand. Nearby, the heavily battered Tu Vanlong lets out a deeply miserable roar. Furrowing his brows in absolute frustration, Tonglam vows he won't make another careless mistake this time. The dragon suddenly lunges toward the flying weapon, whipping its tail with massive force to swat it down. But the instant the blade touches skin, flesh is sliced wide open. Zhu Minglang's giant sword suddenly expands to massive proportions, sending the dragon free-falling straight to the earth. Look at that speed. The giant blade keeps charging forward, and by the time the beast realizes, it is already far too late. The sharp point pierces deeply into its horn, causing the beast to howl in agony. Sweating profusely, Tonglam can only watch in absolute, jaw-dropping horror. Covered in raging flames, the sword flies back and begins gracefully orbiting around Zhu Minglang's body. Standing with folded arms, Zhu Minglang smugly remarks that his blade has tasted quite enough blood. Suddenly, On Morng-nu draws her sword and leads her fellow sex sisters to charge him. Zhu Minglang extends his open palm forward. Sword, return. Staring at the crimson glow within the metal, he wonders if this is the jade blood inscription, admitting it is not bad. He goes quiet, falling deep into thought for a long moment. He coldly whispers a dark thought, realizing it is best to quench the blade in a swordsman's blood. Right on cue, On Morng-nu charges directly at him, shouting that if he wants her blood, he better have the skills to back it up. Reaching to his side, Zhu Minglang firmly grasps the hilt, as raging flames slowly wrap around his entire hand. Raising the weapon high, Zhu Minglang's pupils narrow with absolute, freezing, killing intent. Suddenly terrified, On Morng-nu breaks into a cold sweat, her eyes shaking with pure dread. Instinctively, Morng-nu raises her blade to block his incoming strike, squeezing her eyes shut in absolute terror. Somehow, the hand gripping Morng-nu's sword hilt begins to bleed, forcing a terrified scream from her lips. With only one bronze-colored eye visible, Zhu Minglang radiates pure, cold cruelty. Morng-nu leaps backward, landing in a defensive crouch with one hand on the ground. Gritting her teeth, Morng-nu panics over how ridiculously strong he is, his immense pressure making her lose control. By now, Zhu Minglang's face is completely consumed by darkness as his legendary Ninlong sword fully awakens. One of his arms gradually catches fire, covered in bizarre, glowing patterns. Standing tall, Zhu Minglang proudly declares he is Fu Du, as a massive torrent of fire erupts from his body, his sword transforming into Tian Hong. Trono grabs his weapon and frantically screams for everyone to stop him before he finishes gathering his power. As they charge forward, Triyu then leads the attack, but suddenly, a massive pillar of light shoots straight up from the ground into the heavens. Staring at the pillar, Mengnu realizes that the real danger of this sword isn't some magic formation, but raw swordplay. Now watch this. Zhu Minglang raises his shining blade, declaring this is his first strike. He brutally drives the sword straight down, his completely blank eyes showing no mercy as the sweeping, wild fire spreads everywhere. They scream to get out of the way as a massive explosion carves out the land with blinding light. From high up in the pavilions, onlookers watch in suspense as thick smoke plumes cover the sky. As the dust settles, a horrific scene is revealed, leaving everyone utterly speechless. The bloody, lifeless bodies of legendary masters lie scattered everywhere. One cries out that his leg is broken, weeping that Zhu Minglang is an absolute demon. Wondering what kind of monstrous sword could be this powerful, they watch as Zhu Minglang spins it, generating a strange blue aura. With his second strike, he unleashes a violent tornado that instantly sweeps away every single summoned beast. Suddenly, Zhu Minglang's weapon shifts form, morphing into a flexible purple whip sword. His third strike fires thousands of purple beams, piercing the confused crowd and leaving them paralyzed as their skin violently swells up. Another survivor stands frozen with his jaw dropped, only managing a brief, choked scream. Their pupils shrink in terror while the female cultivators, left bruised with shredded clothing, desperately try to cover themselves. And here's where it gets crazy. Zhu Minglang crouches low, driving his weapon straight into the ground. Frowning as a sharp light flashes in his eyes, the cracked ground splits open, oozing hot, bubbling lava. Shocked, Trung Ha asks his uncle, Ngo Fong, if this array is actually just pure swordplay, leaving the older man sweating. Ngo Fong breaks into a sweat, admitting it is his first time ever seeing someone execute this array with such flawless, master-level precision. Zhu Minglang is getting way too terrifying. Suddenly, the arena shifts into a starry night sky. Fifth strike lightning sword. Thunderbolts rain down, leaving the fleeing crowd completely paralyzed. With his hair whipping in the wind, Zhu Minglang's lips slowly move. Sixth strike. His hair stands on end as his blade erupts into a pure, roaring flame. Spreading his arms wide, Zhu Minglang turns the fire into massive rings of flame, sending Trohi crying and fleeing in panic. Trohi curses, terrified at how that cheap sword of Zhu Minglang suddenly became so devastatingly overpowered. With long hair hiding his expression, Zhu Minglang prepares his seventh strike as the flames morph into a massive bow. His fingers pull back the burning string, releasing a single command that summons a blinding arrow from the heavens, piercing the clouds. Mengnu gets pierced through the chest, screaming out in absolute agony. The light blast tears forward, slamming into a cliff and leaving a massive gaping hole in the smoking rock wall. Terrified survivors scramble to flee, screaming that they need to run because Zhu Minglang has gone completely insane. Heavily panting, Zhu Minglang rests a hand on his knee to catch his breath. Wiping his sweat, he mutters that he is out of practice, and though he can only reach the seventh strike, it is still more than enough. Shaking violently, Tumi tells the others this swordplay is too strong and he is backing out. Clutching her arm in fear, Mengnu turns around, declaring they need to retreat now. Crawling out of the rubble, Tong Lam agrees that anyone below sovereign level should just stay away, while a hand reaches out begging for help. While the trapped man groans, Truthon gets absolutely furious, yelling at them to stop being so afraid, pointing out that he is clearly exhausted. Truthon summons a giant poison bone dragon to finish him off. Zhu Minglang just smirks, mocking the defeated trash and asking if they really think they can even touch him. Delusion. A pale-skinned woman with seductive lips lets out a chilling, bewitching laugh. A numbing sensation spreads through Zhu Minglang's nerves. His expression quickly darkens. Zhu Minglang is trapped by 6 yellow talismans. Oh no, the Thousand Jin Talisman. A dark figure steps out from the smoke. Talisman Master Hawthorne Thien waves her talisman smugly and says, "Let's see what you've got." She flicks her wrist, scattering the talismans. Their strange symbols glow, freezing Zhu Minglang in place and triggering a quick wave of panic. Fallen into her trap, Trial Thun laughs out with a loud mocking sneer. "Nice job, Lady Hatheng Thien. Now tell Dokot to attack," he yells as sweat breaks on Zhu Minglang. Sensing danger, Zhu Minglang looks back. Oh no, Dark Coat is launching a sneak attack with a purple beam. Nan Lingsha screams his name in terror. Beside her, Tun Dung's eyes widen in sheer panic. But Zhu Minglang just lowers his head and mutters, "Is that all?" before unleashing a cold, murderous glare. "You think this can hurt me? You must be dreaming." He scoffs as massive volcanic armor and raging tempest energy erupt around him. Watching from behind, Tun Dung's eyes light up with pure relief as he shouts the good news. The young master is safe, he cheers, while Nan Lingsha lets out a sigh, grumbling that he always worries them. Tong Lam gnashes his teeth in absolute rage, completely unable to accept this outcome. He's just a sitting duck inside that trap, so let's see how arrogant he is now. Do you have a gold armor charm? Bless my Kim Kung dragon, he demands, and Ha Thon Thien nods quickly from behind. She reaches into her pocket, rummaging around quickly before pulling out a bright, glowing yellow talisman card. Raising it high, she summons the massive Kim Kung dragon, an absolute beast radiating raw, terrifying power. Show him what real power looks like. Tonglam roars as the giant dragon flies high, charging its energy. The massive energy keeps feeding into its jaws, swelling the glowing sphere to a giant size. Zhu Minglang just frowns in annoyance, asking, do you really think this cheap talisman can actually hold me? He stands firm, confident. Raging flames suddenly explode outward from his body. The moment that sphere charges up, it blasts straight at him. But watch this, he sprouts a wing and flies high, completely dodging. Down below, Ha Thon Thien gasps in fear, covering her mouth as she screams in disbelief. How did he break my spell? She gasps, while Tonglam beside her screams, we cannot let him win. Gliding at lightning speed, Zhu Minglang wields Mok Ta and slashes straight across Kim Kung's weak spot. Just then, Do Kot lunges from the side, but he simply snarls drop dead. His eyes burn with flame as fire wraps his body, and he raises his bare hand toward the beast. Swooping in, he tears through the monster with his bare hands, splitting it in two with a massive explosion. Tu Van and Kim Kung look up, furious. Spreading his wings, Zhu Minglang raises Mok Ta high and declares it is over before unleashing a blinding fire slash. With his heavenly ink sword, he rains down waves of white-hot flame, blasting both dragons out of the sky. Below them, Ha Thon Thien watches. Terrified, Tonglam's jaw completely drops, but refusing to accept defeat, Ha Thon Thien desperately flings a barrage of magical talismans. Shield, water, earth, wood, none of them work, turning to useless ash before they can even activate. She cowers behind her hands and retreats, while Dirp Kwang drops into a low stance, bracing himself with a loud roar. Dirp Kwang conjures a swirling defensive shield, his face turning completely pale as he screams. Damn it, hold firm, he yells. While nearby, Dung Hoa sits cross-legged, praying furiously with sweat pouring down his face. Chanting his prayers, he manages to summon a defensive barrier shaped like a golden bell. Safe inside, shielded from the deadly fire, he just keeps chanting his prayers over and over. Below, Trilthon stands by his beast with clenched fists, muttering, if Kui Long survives this, we can still win. Hang on, he pleads. But look at Tong Lam acting like a total coward. Cowering behind a pile of boulders, he trembles and mutters, can we even win? An entire squad couldn't even touch a single swordsman. We've lost, he whimpers, as No Fong calmly watches from a window. He softly muses that Zhu Minglang's mastery is terrifyingly high, easily matching a mid-tier master. Zhong, he gasps in shock from the sideline, turning to exclaim that it is a mid-tier lord rank. Wu Fong immediately looks over at him and gently explains that although they typically divide each tier into lower, upper, and peak, reaching the lord rank makes it a much greater level, just like comparing a river to the vast sea. A river can easily be summed up in a few simple words, but the ocean is completely different. So when reaching the lord rank, the tiers are divided much more thoroughly into 5 ranks, from quasi, lower, mid, upper, and peak. Zhong, he responds as if enlightened, so that is how it works. After repeated heavy attacks, Jin Qiang lies bloody on the ground. It and Ziyun lie completely motionless, completely losing their ability to fight. Zhu Minglang stands triumphantly right on top of Jin Qiang. Zhong Lin stands sheepishly behind Zhu Minglang and quietly thanks him for holding back his strike. He is cautious, his eyes staring in deep wonder. He says that while the swordplay of the Jiaoshan sword sect is indeed superb, he does not respect his dragon taming. You only rely on an incredibly rare spirit sword dragon, and without it, you would have lost. Saying that, and before Zhu Minglang can even reply, Zhong Lin quickly turns away with absolute confidence, vowing that he will definitely surpass him very soon. Silence. Sudden silence. Zhu Minglang turns his head back and commands him to stop. Zhong Lin stops in the distance, looking back at Zhu Minglang. He calmly stares back and demands that he can leave, but the brocade box stays. Standing high above and looking down at the crowd below, Zhu Minglang raises his voice in a threatening challenge, asking what they will do. Do they want to hand over the brocade boxes themselves, or fight him again? The battered Qing Qian looks up weakly, admitting they lost. But just as she looks over, she sees it a dirty sneak attack. She screams for him to watch out. From behind him, a sinister Zhao Chen charges forward. Zhu Minglang senses it, but it is already too late as a powerful hand slams into his back. He is helpless, completely frozen. Left with absolutely no footing, the massive force sends him flying away. The ground explodes as Zhu Minglang is dragged across, dirt flying everywhere. An almost insane Zhao Chen stands in the black smoke, roaring loudly. Zhu Minglang, I am nothing like those other weak cowards. Not even close. Now that your energy is completely drained and you are injured by me, you should just hand over those brocade boxes. As the thick smoke slowly clears, his figure begins to emerge. Zhu Minglang is not seriously hurt, with only a thin trail of blood on his lip as he calmly speaks. Is staying alive not good enough? With a terrifying glare, Zhu Minglang raises his hand high, unleashing an explosion of raw energy into the sky. Up above, freezing white currents of air gather into a massive vortex. Then, a sharp, massive object begins hurtling straight down. Pure power. His body radiates raw energy as Zhu Minglang points forward like a god. An enormous spectral sword descends like an illusion, engulfed in blazing, raging fire. Everyone watching is left completely speechless and frozen in pure terror. Xiang turns pale, quickly uttering a prayer that the benefactor has truly let his killing intent take over. But away from the battlefield, the atmosphere is even more grim, as a grand palace stands beneath dark, stormy skies. And Wang sits wearily in his chair, slamming his fist onto the armrest as he yells about the sheer arrogance of slaughtering royal disciples right in front of everyone. How can this be tolerated? And Wang demands that Zhu Tiangguan quickly stop his lawless, reckless son right this instant. Sitting not far away, Zhu Tiangguan quickly responds, turning around with a frustrated glare to call it utterly ridiculous. So the son of the Zhu clan master is just supposed to let Zhao Chen slaughter him? Anyone with eyes can clearly see that Zhao Chen was the one trying to murder my son first. But just as Zhu Tiangguan opens his mouth to speak, the entire room shakes violently. Earth-shaking power. Everyone in the room looks up in absolute panic. Check this out. That massive sword is coming right down through the ceiling. The massive, blazing sword slams down. Zhao Chen is instantly defeated, left lying completely motionless on the ground with severe, crippling injuries. Everyone in the surrounding area is caught in the aftershock, left scattered across the floor, while Zhu Minglang himself is completely drained of strength. Zhu Minglang wearily supports himself with Mo Xie, asking the referee if all the brocade boxes now belong to him. He looks up into the sky toward her. The woman riding on the dragon wonders to herself how the entire 9 Armies 2 mountain has collapsed, amazed by how incredibly powerful this young man is. She blushes slightly, her face turning red, declaring in a shy tone that he is indeed the champion, and all the boxes are his. Everyone watching from above celebrates with loud, joyful cheers. Zhu Minglang and the other 2 exit the arena, walking out together in a proud stride. He suddenly looks over at Nan Lingsha. Zhu Minglang pulls out a small box containing the official decree for the ancestral Dragon City state. This represents one of the 4 key cities of the Lichuan continent, leaving the remaining battles to Li Yunzi. Time passes quickly, and the crisp morning sunlight soon shines down on the peaceful courtyard of the old bamboo temple. Zhu Tiangguan and his son sit together, staring excitedly at the boxes as they curiously open them. He happily calls out, "We hit the jackpot. This is all yours." Zhu Minglang quickly reaches his hands out to pay respects, saying, "Thank you, Dad." Zhu Tiangguan proudly walks over and pats his shoulder, saying in a gentle, caring voice, "You won all this stuff in the tournament, and there is no way your own dad is letting you get shortchanged." Zhu Minglang picks up the paper to check, pointing at it in confusion. "Wait a second, Dad. We agreed to split it 50-50 before, but this looks like 40% at most." Zhu Tiangguan glares right back at him, asking with a pretty serious look, "Brat, how do you even have the face to say that? I still haven't billed you for all those legendary swords you devoured in my forge." Zhu Minglang sighs, complaining, "Come on, didn't I do all that just to win the tournament? If I hadn't, my sword spirit dragon wouldn't have become this powerful." Zhu Tiangguan takes a small box and tosses it straight at him, scolding, "Stop, whining. This spirit contract ring is your compensation." Zhu Minglang tilts his head and catches the wooden box, complaining, "Why are you being so cheap, Dad?" Zhu Tiangguan lets out a slight smirk, lowering his voice enough to startle the kid. "You greedy brat, don't push your luck. This ring allows you to form another spirit contract. Wouldn't you love to have another dragon?" Hearing that, Zhu Minglang's face completely changes. He waves his hands, quickly replying, "Dad, don't talk like we are strangers. We're family after all. So your half is going to end up belonging to me sooner or later anyway. Giving me a little more now isn't going to hurt you." Zhu Tiangguan scowls in pure anger, mercilessly kicking Zhu Minglang right out the door while yelling, "Get out! This money is saved for my beautiful wife." Zhu Minglang cries in grievance as he is tossed out. Meanwhile, at a massive courtyard, bright sunlight shines down on the garden. In Zhu Minglang's small courtyard, Shenhai floats around in midair, rambling on and on about what happened. You wouldn't believe it when Zhu Minglang swung that sword. The sky looked like it was about to collapse. The other competitors on Mount Jujunmu were basically wetting themselves in fear. Honestly, my own heart was beating so fast it almost jumped out of my chest. I really didn't expect little Zhu to be this incredibly strong now. Just as Shenhai is hyping the story up to Nyanyan, Zhu Minglang sneaks up from behind with a soft cough. Looking pretty confused, he slowly lowers his hand and says, "Mr. Shenhai, I am all grown up now. You used to call me by my actual name, so why did you suddenly start calling me Little Zhu?" Right then, Nianian suddenly rushes forward and jumps straight onto Zhu Minglang's back, wrapping her arms tightly around his neck and cheering Zhu Minglang, "You're back. Did you finish splitting the loot with your dad? We're rich now, so we never have to worry about buying dragon food again." Zhu Minglang feels pretty awkward, quickly trying to peel her off while warning her, "Hey, boundaries please. Get off me right now." After struggling for a bit, he finally manages to push Nianian away. Her eyes sparkle as she clasps her hands together, saying, "I only got a little excited because you looked so handsome just now." Zhu Minglang gives Nianian a total dead fish stare while dusting off his clothes, calling her out, "Are you excited because of me, or is it just the money? Besides, I won this fair and square with my own strength. It's not like I went out and robbed someone." Shenhai swims over excitedly as well, rubbing his two fins together while asking in a low whisper, "Is your sword spirit dragon really that insanely powerful after it awakens? Show me a few moves right now." But in contrast to Shenhai's excitement, Zhu Minglang just sighs dejectedly, waving his hand as he replies, "The runes on the sword spirit dragon only awaken under very specific circumstances, like certain events or battles. To unlock the seals on the other ancient sword souls, we have to uncover the history of those weapons first. The awakened blood rune immediately goes back to sleep once it is used, meaning the sword spirit dragon has to consume swords to recharge before it can fight again." Standing nearby, Nianian shrugs her shoulders quite dismissively, looking totally unimpressed. "Wait, seriously? I thought it was some god-tier weapon, but it turns out to be a one-time use deal?" Hearing this, Zhu Minglang awkwardly scratches his head, turning to face Nianian to explain, "Look, it is only sleeping temporarily, just like my own body. After pushing my limits with that sword awakening, I still feel pretty drained and need a few days of solid rest to fully recover. The blood rune probably needs some quiet time to recover just like that." She suddenly slides right up to Zhu Minglang, giving him a mischievous poke on the shoulder while whispering, "Look, you can't be this weak. Just look at Sister Nan. She finished her entire fight and is still completely full of life." Zhu Minglang blushes furiously, snapping back, "Did you actually finish preparing the food for Bai Qi yet?" Nianian quickly spins around, waving her hand guiltily as she retreats. "I'm going right now." Zhu Minglang sighs with his hands on his hips, muttering about how talkative she is as Shenhai floats over. He narrows his eyes, stroking his small whiskers with his fin while reminding him, "Wait, Zhu Minglang, ice god Bai Qi cannot eat such simple, cheap food. You need to buy some high-quality supplements for him. Before his next breakthrough, his cultivation should ideally reach the peak master level. That way, after evolving, he can skip straight to the mid-tier lord level. But doing this is going to be pretty expensive." Zhu Minglang looks up at Shenhai, a pretty subtle smirk plays on his lips as he replies, "So what exactly are those supplements? I will ask Neem Neem to find them. We certainly are not short on cash." The old man is totally baffled. Shenhai rubs his round head and hesitantly asks, "What supplements are you talking about?" Neem Neem is still standing there, completely speechless. "Did you seriously just forget what you said a second ago?" Zhu Minglang stands right next to them feeling just as speechless. He forces a polite smile and reminds the old man, "You literally just said Bai Qi needs supplements to prepare for its next evolution." He suddenly gasps in realization, his face lighting up as he shouts, "Oh right, I remember now. You should take your little white dragon to Van Chi Kwok to train. That place is absolutely packed with quite a few good things. Though the catch is only royal disciples actually get the slots to go train in Van Chi Kwok." With that, Shenhai zooms away with Niam Niam chasing right behind. He glances back, yelling, "So you will have to figure that out yourself. Come on, little girl, let us hit the streets. Who knows, maybe we can buy some supplements there." Zhu Minglang rubs his chin in deep thought. "Looks like I need to find Tan Duong and see if she can somehow get me a royal disciple pass into Van Chi Kwok." Night falls in the blink of an eye, and look at who is training her heart out under the full moon. Covered in sweat, Tan Duong strains to count 997, her body tensing into a pretty perfect curve as she pushes herself. 998. Hanging upside down, she puts one arm behind her back, doing push-ups with just 2 fingers. 999. Determination burns in her eyes as she squeezes out one final rep, reaching 1,000 before letting go. She drops heavily to the ground, gasping that she still needs to train much harder. She can never become a burden to her young master. But right as she says that, the door creaks open and a hand suddenly reaches inside. As she sits huddled on the floor catching her breath, he walks right in, freezing the second he meets her startled gaze. Face turning completely bright red, Zhu Minglang quickly spins around and covers his eyes, stammering that he is incredibly sorry for forgetting to knock. She quickly covers herself up as Zhu Minglang rushes back outside, slamming the door shut behind him. Blushing slightly, Tan Duong opens the door and tells him, "Young master, if you are looking for me, you really do not need to knock." Still slightly red in the face, Zhu Minglang quickly looks back. He explains he heard she just got back from an outing with his father, which is why he came. Tan Duong looks at him calmly. She nods, replying she was actually on her way to see him. His father wants them in court tomorrow, under Tru Vuong's orders. It is likely about him killing that royal disciple, but his father says not to worry. Everything is already taken care of, so he just needs to show up. Hearing this, Zhu Minglang frowns in annoyance. Go to court, is it? Fine by him. Tan Duong steps closer, asking with a touch of curiosity, did you have another reason for coming to see me, young master? Remembering his actual goal, he crosses his arms and speaks up. I want to enter Van Chi. Kwok, can we buy a slot from one of the royal disciples, and maybe get another one for Nam El Nin Sa? Tan Duong crosses her arms in deep thought, slowly replying, that should be quite possible. Many royals desperately want our land deeds, so we can easily trade some of our less important properties to get those passes. Feeling immensely relieved, Zhu Minglang leaves it in her capable hands. Perfect. Then I will leave this entirely to you. She closes her eyes with a gentle smile, assuring him, you can leave it to me, young master. The next morning, the scene shifts to the grand palace where the mighty Huang Vuong stands tall. Pay close attention here. Raising his golden goblet, he announces to the crowd, since we are all gathered in court today, let me drink a toast first. Suddenly, a panicked messenger bursts through the quiet hall, dropping straight to his knees as he desperately cries out for the king. Sobbing hysterically, he reports that disaster has struck. Sitting nearby, Thian Quang and Zhu Minglang watch the messenger shake with absolute terror. Thian Quang leans over and whispers, that is the state father of Duquoc. Something terrible must have happened in the Li Shuyan War. Huang Vuong calmly holds his cup, looking down to ask the state father of Duquoc what could possibly cause him such panic. The man grovels on the floor in agony. He begs the king to immediately order the surrender of Li Yunzi, the current powerful ruler of the Li Shuyan continent. Standing up, Hong Vuong demands him to speak plainly. Shaking uncontrollably, the messenger looks up with tear-filled eyes to deliver the grim news. You gave us 1 month to take control of Li Zuyen continent, and we actually managed to ambush and wound Li Yunzi. Hearing this, Zhu Minglang frowns as he stares intensely at the crying man. What did he just say? Is Li Yunzi actually hurt? The messenger only weeps louder in response. Who would have thought Li Yunzi would be this cunning? She sent men to burn the grain depots, then blocked the valley to cut off all our reinforcements. Remembering the chaotic explosions and destruction everywhere, he cries out in absolute terror. What is even worse is that in just a few short days, Li Yunzi fully recovered from her wounds. She personally led her soldiers straight into our Dwer Quoc, completely taking over and occupying our entire kingdom. Please, your majesty, order a surrender to stop Li Yunzi from slaughtering the innocent people of Dwer Quoc. Thian Quan finds this pretty amusing, covering his mouth to whisper over to Zhu Minglang that he never expected his daughter-in-law to be this fierce and powerful, calling it impressive. Feeling a bit helpless, he quickly explains that he told her to only play defense. He wanted to wait until he secured the seat of power before making long-term plans, but she went ahead and conquered Dwer Quoc. His soft tone suddenly turns serious, eyes showing worry as he speaks up. But luckily, Li Yunzi is completely unharmed, which is great. But just when things get incredibly tense, look at this, some guy suddenly slams his hand down and yells out in pure rage. Surrender my foot, he yells. A mere brat trying to rule Lai Xuan is something our Long Ho Tong can easily take down. Thian Quan leans back slightly, casually picking his nose while delivering a subtle threat. This makes the man go pale, realizing that the seat of power over Li Xuan continent is currently held by our Trukmon. Does the Long Ho Tong really want to oppose our Trukmon? Because if so, I will just have Jiao Son Kim Tong pay a little visit to everyone at your Tonglum. Sitting quietly in her seat, the imperial concubine suddenly chimes in to intervene, speaking in a very gentle tone. She suggests that since Li Zuyan is no longer leaderless, the major sects should probably keep their hands off it. Standing before the whole crowd, the emperor of the imperial court turns to look at his close attendant, giving a direct order. Have the state preceptor draft a surrender decree so Trukmon can negotiate with Li Yunzi, offering her to join the empire as the Li Shuan Duchess. The attendant quickly bows down, respectfully acknowledging the command. The emperor then shifts his gaze back toward where Zhu Minglang is sitting. Recalling the past, he asks in a loud voice, stating that Prince An accused Zhu Minglang of looking down on the imperial family and even killing their disciple. The emperor's face instantly darkens, his scrutinizing eyes locking onto the boy as he speaks grimly, bringing up how he severed the limbs of Trier Duong Kak. Back then he exiled him for 3 years, but now he has grown even more reckless. Daring to murder an imperial disciple, he truly has some nerve. Feeling the cold sweat on his forehead, Zhu Minglang quickly stands up, cupping his hands to plead his innocence, claiming Triel Ngar and Triel Thun ambushed him first. Everyone present saw it. He only fought back in self-defense to protect his own life. But who could have known they could not even take a single hit, leading to this tragedy? He expresses deep regret, while the Empress consort sitting behind the Emperor steps in to save him. She tells the Emperor those words are true, and though Zhu Minglang sinned, his crime does not warrant death. It would be better to exile him for a few more years, showing both the Emperor's absolute justice and mercy. The Emperor's expression softens once again, looking gently at his consort and agreeing to do exactly as she suggests. He turns back to look down at the kneeling young man, commanding with a heavy, powerful voice. Since he performed so well in the match, he can spend the new year in the capital, but must pack up and leave right after. Relieved, Zhu Minglang quickly pays his respects, accepting his punishment with a deep bow. Elsewhere, Prince An is clearly furious, his face darkening with rage as he silently warns them not to get too ahead of themselves. With pure bloodlust in his eyes, Prince An grimaces, vowing he will never let anyone from Trukmon off the hook. But soon enough, the whole matter is fully resolved. Now we cut back to Zhu Minglang, who is casually lounging under the bright sun in his peaceful little courtyard. Standing beside him, Tundung hesitates before informing him that a marquise from the imperial family wishes to trade for their land deed. Zhu Minglang leans back in his chair, not even looking at her, as he asks what the catch is. Tundung continues, explaining that this person wants to meet the young master face to face to discuss the trade. Lounging back with his hands behind his head, he closes his eyes and asks for the specific time and location. Totally missing her uneasy expression, he waits as Tundung quietly responds with the details. As night falls, a crescent moon hangs in the sky, illuminating a massive courtyard known as the Wind-Following Pavilion. Inside, the glowing lanterns cast soft shadows over two seated figures, marking their long-awaited meeting, and the beautiful Mir Ni sits straight up, resting her hands on the table to introduce herself. She introduces herself as Trior Mir Ni, recalling how she visited Trukmon to play during their childhood. She playfully mentions how he used to pick on her, asking if he remembers. Hearing this, Zhu Minglang stands opposite her, raising his hand politely while trying to recall if he ever actually met anyone by that name. Whatever. If she wants to get close and play friend, he might as well go along with it for now to see what she is plotting. Forcing a smile, Zhu Minglang replies, "Yes, I remember." Right after that, she steps closer to him, gently wrapping her slender arms around Zhu Minglang's arm. Mei leans in close with a pout, looking up to ask, "Really? Then does Lord Zhu remember how he used to bully me?" At this point, he is practically screaming on the inside. "Damn, she is totally playing me. I do not remember a thing." Zhu Minglang lets out a soft cough to answer. "Lady Mei, men and women should maintain proper distance. Please behave yourself." She pretends to pout, turning away with a red face and muttering, "You heartless man. You did not say that when you slapped my butt as a kid." Hearing this, Zhu Minglang jumps up, completely panicking as he yells to stop her. "You cannot just spread wild rumors like that, my lady. Let us get down to business." Soon enough, the two sit back down to talk. Sitting on the other side, Mei sips her tea and says, "I want a land deed to Luyun City, plus the mining rights to 3 gold mines. Without missing a beat, he firmly rejects it. No way, at most, 1 gold mine and 2 silver mines. Leaning her hands on the table, she shoots him a seductive look and agrees deal. "But you must fulfill one condition for me." Zhu Minglang gets a bit defensive, throwing her a cautious look as he growls, "What kind of condition?" Crossing her legs, Mei claps her hands, calling out for her sisters. Watch his face here, his eyes go wide as he realizes what is coming. Instantly, 4 stunning girls with gorgeous figures appear out of nowhere. "Oh my god, are you really the legendary Zhu?" Mei smiles, suggestively placing her hand on his shoulder, and notes your battle at 9 Army 2 Mountain shook the entire imperial capital. "Lord Zhu, you are basically a living legend in our imperial city now, and all my sisters really want to absorb a little bit of your divine aura." Zhu Minglang's face pales as a cold sweat drops down his cheek. "Divine aura? What kind of joke is this?" A girl in yellow blushes and lunges forward, crying, "Oh, legendary Zhu." She wraps her arms tightly around his neck, pressing her soft curves right against his arm. "Oh, legendary Zhu. I finally get to meet you. Word is you have some incredibly fertile land deeds. Would you mind selling them to me?" Zhu Minglang is stunned they are using seduction to seal a business deal. Honestly, who could actually resist this? The other 3 girls shyly edge closer, pleading, "What about us, legendary Zhu? Let us share some of that divine aura too." Staring at these 4 stunning beauties, he is completely overwhelmed. The 4 of them lounge on the bed, seductively posing and calling out Lord Zhu. Even though Zhu Minglang is low-key loving this, he tries to stay strong, shouting, "Please stop." A tragic, agonizing scream echoes from inside the building. "Somebody save me." A while later, he holds up his scratched hand and sighs that was way too terrifying. Over on the bed, all 4 girls are knocked out cold with massive bumps on their heads, while his face is covered in kiss marks. "I, Zhu Minglang, am an honorable gentleman with only my wife in my heart." A few days later, at the entrance of the Cloud Dragon Kingdom, a guard speaks sincerely. "You two, the dragons inside there will not harm humans. But please, do not go out of your way to provoke the rare dragons. If an accident happens, absolutely nobody is coming to save you." He explains that catching the dragons inside depends entirely on their skills. Whichever one they can tame, they can take with them. The guard continues, adding that naturally, any treasures they find inside will belong to them. Zhu Minglang nods in understanding, handing him a bracelet with a sparkling, glowing pendant. The guard explains that this jade lantern will help sustain their lifespans. Inside the Cloud Dragon world, every single second that passes drains a portion of your life force. If you see the light dim, you must leave immediately. Otherwise, no matter how strong your cultivation is, the cloud ice will freeze you into drifting snow. Zhu Minglang reaches out to take the bracelet, offering his thanks. Inside the Cloud Dragon Kingdom, the scenery is breathtaking, with streams flowing across clouds and steep cliffs. Looking around, Zhu Minglang thinks that if the ancestral Dragon City state had a sanctuary like this, it would surely rise to ultimate prosperity. Yusha speaks up. I remember grandmother telling me about this place when I was a kid. She must know a lot. I should ask her. She slyly slides her arms around his, and before he knows it, Yusha is pressing her entire warm body intimately against him. This place is quite nice, but it is freezing. Warm me up already. Blushing in surprise, he thinks, why is my sister-in-law suddenly being so affectionate? She is quite curvy though. With a flushed face, she tilts her head seductively, whispering, is it beautiful? Zhu Minglang answers on pure instinct, very beautiful. Meanwhile, Bai Qi is scouting ahead when he spots something and lets out a sharp cry. Snapping out of his daze, he quickly pushes Yusha back, realizing that Bai Qi seems to have found something over there. Pouting, she watches Zhu Minglang sprint off toward the noise. Yusha giggles to herself, teasing him what a coward. Bai Qi leads them to a massive tree loaded with wild fruit, reaching out with its tiny claws to pluck one. Suddenly, some wild beasts in the branches fly down toward Bai Qi, looking absolutely furious. Zhu Minglang gently coaxes him, let us just leave some for them. Bai Qi doesn't even listen. He just glares at those fat birds, fires off a skill, and sends them crying all the way home. Bai Qi giggles with pure delight, leaving Zhu Minglang standing there watching the whole thing completely helpless. Then he looks over at Thon Troc and He Ya playing in the clouds. He Ya is literally drooling, staring at the treat in Zhu Minglang's hand. He asks, do you want some fruit too? Too bad the Cloud Terrace fruit is only for Bai Qi, but hey, you can go find some actual food for yourself. He Ya screeches in excitement, acting like a spoiled kid who just got promised a brand new toy. Here I come, it seems to say. But the moment He Ya steps onto a cloud, it completely freezes in shock, and down it goes. He Ya slips through the cloud, crying for help while Zhu Minglang watches the plump crow plunge. Oh, that big black crow, this looks way too familiar, Teen Tho giggles, popping out of Vursa's arms with a cheeky grin. That big black crow is way too fat, needs a diet, she jokes. Zhu Minglang stares, while He Ya's round eyes look totally blank. It is you, Vursa explains, pointing out the lie beast, who smugly smirks back. Zhu Minglang raises a skeptic hypocrite fool you, it warns. He is super evil. He literally just mocked my name, the little beast cries out. Zhu Minglang squats down, teasing, why would I ever mock you? You cured my big crow, so I am actually super grateful, he says. But Teen Tho just slaps his hand away in annoyance. You idiot, get your filthy hand off me, it snaps. Suddenly, Vursa growls out Zhu Minglang. The rabbit leaps up, latching onto his face. You smelly pervert, master, get him, it screams. Zhu Minglang panics, I did not do it on purpose. A summoning array suddenly glows behind him, but he is too busy dealing with the rabbit to notice, yelling, do not scratch my face. Then a deep, ancient voice echoes out, catching their attention, a lie beast. He looks over to see Mr. Koi staring at Teen Tho in pure shock, murmuring to think a lie beast still exists, and a dragon-morphed one at that. Terrified, the rabbit dives straight into Vursa's chest, squealing, mommy, master, help. This talking fish is a literal monster. Do not be scared, little Chang'e. Xinhai chuckles warmly at the rabbit's dramatic reaction, finding the little creature absolutely adorable. The cute rabbit whispers to its master, he called me cute. Should I pretend to be mad to keep up my cold reputation? It covers its mouth, mumbling that staying quiet makes it look cooler. Meanwhile, Mr. Koi blinks his giant eyes, repeating his exact words all over again. A lie beast, to think one still exists, a dragon-morphed lie beast, and it is just so incredibly adorable. Teen Tho narrows its eyes in confusion. Did he not just say that? Is this old fish suffering from memory loss? Xinhai snaps back, what memory loss? Ever heard of fish intelligence? I selectively forget the unimportant details of life to keep my brain sharp. The rabbit rolls its eyes, whispering to Vursa. I forgot again. Staying quiet builds character. Otherwise, people only see my cute side. I do not want to be cute. I want to be cold. Zhu Minglang and Vursa can only exchange helpless smiles at the sight. Suddenly, he remembers something important and quickly speaks up. Yesterday, Thon Troc ate the spirit wood pill and is still absorbing it, so he cannot come out. So Zhu Minglang immediately barks an order. Bai Qi, go save He Ya now. The white dragon spreads his wings, shooting forward like a bullet to grab the falling crow. Look at him struggle. The white dragon drags the chubby crow back to the safety of the clouds while the bird cheers him on. Seeing them safe, Zhu Minglang breathes a huge sigh of relief. Good job, Bai Qi. Meanwhile, the black crow screeches in absolute joy. Thank you, big sister, you are the absolute best. Bai Qi just looks down, totally exhausted, while the crow smiles sheepishly. Zhu Minglang suddenly suggests they move out, and Vorsa completely agrees, but this instantly sends Xinhai and Tiantho into a panic. Wait, do not leave us behind, they cry out. Zhu Minglang sweats nervously. If I listen to you two any longer, I will lose my mind too. In the end, they still push forward together, though their hearts are completely divided. Suddenly, Zhu Minglang freezes and stares straight ahead. There, right in front of him, 3 bamboo dragons are circling a tree packed with fruit. It is a Vandai Moor tree, holding sacred fruits that can easily boost a dragon's cultivation tier. Zhu Minglang's eyes completely light up as drool escapes his mouth. These are impossible to buy outside, even for a fortune, he says. But we can grab them now for free. Nam Versa just stares at him, looking pretty concerned. She questions him in disbelief. Those 3 Saint Bamboo dragons are commander tier, so they will spot them immediately. How can they even harvest them? Zhu Minglang is quite relaxed, replying that they just need to lure them away. He tells Bai Qi and Makta to work together and play along. It appears right behind him, replying with a pretty exhausted sigh. Fine then. Moments later, the sky remains completely silent. With red ink smeared on its wings to fake an injury, Bai Qi flees while Makta chases. The bamboo dragons immediately notice the commotion. Bai Qi hides behind the Vandai Moor tree, putting on a pitiful face. The 2 bamboo dragons in front watch it with high caution. They lock eyes, silently agreeing on a plan before nodding. Covered in roaring flames, Makta charges right in. The bamboo dragon leaps forward, swatting Makta away. It then turns to Bai Qi, awkwardly greeting it with a soft hello. The bamboo dragon friendly says, "Do not be afraid. We are good guys, or rather, good dragons." While they put on their masterclass, Zhu Minglang has successfully scaled the Vandai Moor tree and stolen 4 precious fruits, whispering praise for their top-tier acting skills. He quietly slips down from the clouds to escape, deciding that taking 4 is enough and leaving the other 3 behind for them. Zhu Minglang shouts out, "Bai Qi, Mark Ta, fall back." Seeing Bai Qi retreating towards Zhu Minglang, the bamboo dragon finally realizes it got completely tricked. In a massive rage, it roars and unleashes its powerful spiritual energy, blasting Bai Qi while screaming that it is a dirty liar. Its pure white wings catch a blazing yellow fire, leaving it severely injured. Zhu Minglang shouts in panic, "Bai Qi." Suddenly, Nam Vorsa calls out, telling Bai Qi to get over to her. It and the bamboo dragon look up in shock. She sits atop Lai Vern, looking incredibly badass, and speaks with a heavy dose of sarcasm. She sneers that men are completely useless, pointing out how he messed everything up. Seeing her arrive, the bamboo dragon trembles in fear. Bai Qi quickly shrinks its body, and Tiantho instantly appears, telling it to open its wings for treatment. Zhu Minglang anxiously rushes over, desperately asking how it is doing. That bamboo dragon is a commander level, he worries, but Tiantho calmly replies that it is just a minor wound that will heal quickly. With hands on hips, it speaks with total confidence. It claims there is no need to worry about its master, who is incredibly powerful, meaning that bamboo dragon is just asking for trouble. Suddenly, they watch the beast behind him get brutally electrocuted. Wait, check this out. Zhu Minglang turns around in absolute shock to find 2 bamboo dragons completely knocked out by lightning. "Do not worry," she says. "I only knocked them out." Zhu Minglang just stares at Lai Vern in absolute shock. He explains in disbelief that Lai Vern is the daughter of the ancestor dragon, and only a Lai Long with the purest blood can bear that name. Zhu Minglang recalls an ancient legend. In the primal era, a woman discovered that the souls of humans and the ancestor dragon could actually merge together. From that point on, the founding dragon masters began to emerge one after another. That legendary woman was known to the world as Shenji, and only her descendants can control Lai Vern. Stroking his chin in silence, Zhu Minglang realizes that Nanlingsha is a descendant of Shenji. Since she can control Lai Vern, perhaps the ancient ruins of the Lizuyan continent are actually the ancestor dragon itself. If so, does that mean the Li Xuan continent, just like Vu Tho, split off from a much larger world? Maybe it is even older than the Kirkdin continent, but the divine power of a painter and a dragon master's abilities cannot exist in a single person. Unless, he thinks, his face turning dead serious as he recalls Nanlingsha and Nam Vorsa, unleashing their terrifying, destructive powers. The painter sister-in-law and the dragon master sister-in-law share one body but carry 2 different souls. But what about Li Yunzi? Zhu Minglang is filled with absolute disbelief. Could Li Yunzi, who is sometimes tough and sometimes gentle, also be sharing one body with 2 souls? Walking straight up to her with a dead serious expression, he says that a dragon master's power and divine mortal abilities simply cannot coexist. Therefore, you and Nanlingsha share one body and 2 souls. She is the painter divine mortal, while you are the dragon master. Am I right? Nam Vorsa smirks triumphantly, asking if he finally figured it out. Zhu Minglang immediately follows up by asking about Li Yunzi. Is she also one body with two souls? She softly replies that Li Yunzi and Nan Lingsha are twins, while she is Nam Vorsa. She is younger than the twins by a few years, but after a tragic childhood incident, her soul was split to reside within her two older sisters. Feeling incredibly guilty, Zhu Minglang apologizes for bringing up her sad past. Nam Vorsa dismisses it calmly, brushing it off while blushing slightly as she nervously twirls her fingers. Let me share a little secret with you, she whispers. The one who did that intimate thing with you in the dungeon was not Li Yunzi. Recalling that night, Zhu Minglang's eyes widen in shock. What? If it was not Li Yunzi, then who was it? Vorsa leans close to his ear and whispers it is another soul inside her body, Tinhua. Zhu Minglang is completely stunned, saying it is impossible. But she explains, Tinhua is a prophet with no way to protect herself, which is why she was locked up. Even so, she insists, I still believe the one in the dungeon is Li Yunzi. I trust my own judgment. Turning away, Vorsa says, believe it or not, it is up to you. After all, Li Yunzi is arriving at the imperial court soon, so you can just ask her yourself. He casts his eyes down in sorrow, unable to believe what he just heard. Could the person in that dungeon really be Lei Tinhua? If so, how can he continue this newly established relationship with Li Yunzi? Was the girl who stayed by his side all this time actually Li Yunzi? Or did Tinhua have a hand in it too? He cannot help but feel incredibly guilty. Now that Li Yunzi is arriving at the imperial court, how is he even supposed to face her? Zhu Minglang is completely spiraling. If he knew it would be this messy, he never would have guessed. This sister-in-law is a real devil. Vorsa turns back and sees him frozen like a statue, snapping him out of it, telling him to stop spacing out. She mentions finding a massive skylight just over there, which happens to be an incredible spot for cultivation. Wait, check this out. She says it can expand their soul domains at an absolutely insane speed. Looking around the breezy sky, Zhu Minglang realizes this territory is a place countless dragons are fighting to claim. Various wild dragons are lurking behind the thick cloud cover, closely watching their every move. He warns her that cultivating in a place like this will not be easy. She suggests a simple plan: they take turns. One person cultivates while the other guards and chases off wild dragons. You guard for one day, and I will guard the next. Zhu Minglang immediately nods in agreement, suggesting they play rock, paper, scissors to decide who goes first. Vorsa throws paper while he plays scissors, making him the winner. She immediately pouts, calling him a jerk who does not know how to let a girl win. Zhu Minglang feels completely awkward. He thanks Lady Vorsa for her help, but suddenly, she freezes as her eyes slowly shift from deep purple to a cold green. Nan Lingsha has awakened to take over the body, coldly asking who told him that she is Nam Vorsa. Her voice is absolutely freezing as she stares at him with pure suspicion. Zhu Minglang awkwardly twitches his lips, asking if she is indeed Nan Lingsha. Nan Lingsha summons a powerful dragon and warns him that he only has one single day to focus on his cultivation. At the Cloud Sea Soli, right in the center of a gentle whirlpool, Zhu Minglang sits down, closes his eyes, and begins to focus. Standing guard all around him are his loyal beasts, Makta, Bai Qi, and Heya. Sensing the massive flow of spiritual energy swirling around Zhu Minglang, his dragon Thon Trak watches closely, wondering if his own soul domain can copy this highly effective cultivation method to grow even stronger. Closing his eyes tightly again, the energy from Zhu Minglang begins to swell. Spiritual power whips up into a violent, roaring tornado. It is not just him either. Every single one of his contracted dragons is soon wrapped in this colossal wave of energy. His soul domain is expanding rapidly, and he has finally unlocked the origin spring domain, allowing him to generate his own spiritual energy. Zhu Minglang looks closely at Bai Qi to evaluate him. It looks like Bai Qi will fully evolve within just a few days. Glancing at the other dragons, he realizes that both Great Heya and Thon Trak are cultivating much faster now. With sheer excitement in his voice, he tells Thon Trak that they will all be reaching the commander rank very soon. Zhu Minglang clenches his fist, realizing his energy absorption rate has skyrocketed by nearly 50 times. Judging by the time, it is about turn for Lady Nam to start cultivating. Meanwhile, on the other side, the sun shines gently. Nestled in Vorsa's arms, the fairy rabbit cheers as little Lilai chases down another wild dragon, easily driving the beast away. Watching his dragon chase down the intruder, Zhu Minglang waves his hand and calls out, offering to back Lady Nam up. She snaps back that they agreed on one day, leaving him to scratch his head in confusion, asking if it is really not time yet. Vorsa leaps down from the clouds holding the fairy rabbit, which immediately starts lecturing him. If Nan Lingsha and I had not been taking turns chasing those beasts away, you would be dragon food by now. You idiot, it has been 2 whole days. Stunned, Zhu Minglang apologizes and promises to guard her for 2 days in return as she hands him the fairy rabbit. Last night, a vicious 1,000-year-old spirit actually managed to wound my Lai dragon. Since little Hung Nga is an expert healer, I am leaving her with you. Placing the bunny on his shoulder, he tells her not to worry since she knows how strong he is. The rabbit's eyes light up. That's right, the rabbit squeaks. Tell him to help Master get revenge. But suddenly, a pair of fiery wings erupts right before them, making the rabbit pale. That is the one, the rabbit cries. It keeps targeting us. Standing right there is the legendary 1,000-year spirit Vorsa warned him about the Dirm Kwang Kim Dio. Zhu Minglang looks down at the terrified rabbit, jokingly teasing that the giant bird seems very interested in it. Since eagles love to eat bunnies, the little thing tearfully whimpers back, asking how anyone could ever want to eat a cute rabbit. He laughs happily, telling the rabbit to relax because he is going to handle it. The bunny furiously slaps his shoulder in excitement, cheering him on to pluck every single feather. The Kim Dio glares back with icy, sharp eyes. The beast lets out a world-shaking roar that rattles the earth. Zhu Minglang immediately hurls Moshe right at Kim Dio, yelling to go pluck this arrogant bird. He tells his sword to show this monster what it can do, as Moshe slices through the air, zooming directly underneath Kim Dio's claws. Moshe slashes repeatedly in a blur, but the beast doesn't have a single scratch. Zhu Minglang gasps in shock, completely stunned that the Diem Quan Kim Dio is this insanely tough. Even his prized sword can't break its skin. He needs to back off first and try attacking from a distance. Ordering a retreat, Moshe flies right back to his side. Suddenly, the crest on Kim Dio's head glows blindingly as Tiantou screams a warning to watch out for its third eye. A massive pillar of fire erupts from the beast. Mo Shi effortlessly flips midair to dodge the blazing heat. Then, Mo Zi pulls a sudden U-turn for a surprise attack, plunging straight down like a missile toward Kim Dio. Violent fire energy explodes from the thick dust as Kim Dio shrieks in pure agony, trying to escape. That's when Mo She begins summoning crackling lightning. Zhu Minglang watches the spectacle with his jaw completely dropped. Dozens of lightning-infused sword clones rain down on Kim Dio like a deadly storm. Before the beast can even react, Zhu Minglang commands his sword soul to unleash, triggering a massive, earth-shaking explosion. Look at this hilarious payback. Every single feather on Kim Dio's body gets blasted off. Tiantou laughs hysterically at the sight of this giant, humiliated naked chicken. Zhu Minglang crosses his arms, letting out a smug, disdainful smirk. The Sword Spirit Dragon's power is seriously insane. If a 7,000-year-old soul beast gets crushed this easily, a 9,000-year-old one shouldn't be a problem at all. All the nearby dragons watch the fight, literally sweating in absolute terror. Zhu Minglang looks at them and realizes the sword's raw display of power has successfully terrified all these local beasts. Sighing, Zhu Minglang sits down on a cloud, thinking, this might not be the center of the Cloud Sea Spirit Eye, but the spiritual energy here is still incredibly rich. It would be a complete waste to pass it up. Tiantou repeatedly slaps his head with its tiny paws, urging him to chase the chicken instead of lounging. The rabbit keeps complaining about losing a giant roast chicken, making Zhu Minglang bark back in absolute frustration. He tells it to sit down because they cannot leave. Otherwise, Miss Vusa will be in danger during her cultivation. Tiantou freezes as it suddenly remembers its duty to protect Vusa, awkwardly muttering that it almost forgot its actual main job. Hovering Mo Xie right above them, Zhu Minglang confidently tells the rabbit that other beasts won't dare approach with his sword on guard, so it needs to stop bothering him. Zhu Minglang closes his eyes, instantly entering deep cultivation. He wonders in surprise if Bai Qi is entering its final refinement phase. But Tiantou suddenly squeals in panic, painfully pinching his ear and breaking his concentration. Irritated, he asks what the rabbit's problem is after he specifically told it not to disturb him, but Tiantou just points a trembling paw. The giant naked chicken has actually returned. Kim Dio stands on a cloud, muttering nonsense, leaving Zhu Minglang completely speechless at its sheer audacity. When he asks what it is babbling about, Tiantou angrily translates that the bald chicken refuses to accept defeat. It claims to have brought back backup, demanding they kneel and apologize, prompting Zhu Minglang to scoff at how incredibly dumb this bird is. Glancing at Mo Xie beside him, he commands his trusted sword to go teach that arrogant chicken another painful lesson. Seeing the sword coming, Kim Dio immediately panics and flees at full speed. But as Mo Xie pursues, a menacing, pitch-black storm cloud suddenly looms ahead. Tiantou squeals that the bird is screaming for its life, urging him to chase it for dinner. But Zhu Minglang senses something is off. Gritting his teeth, he wonders why a creature would be running away in absolute terror if it actually brought backup. He quickly shouts for Mo Xie to return immediately. As Kim Dio slows down, Mo Xie is almost right on its tail. Suddenly, one of the monster's allies senses danger and widens its eyes in shock. Oh man, a monstrous shadow suddenly lunges from the dark clouds and swallows the poor beast whole in one bite. Perched on his head, Tiantou giggles at how the dumb chicken's own allies ended up eating it. But Zhu Minglang's expression is incredibly grim right now. His face darkens as a terrifying 9,000-year-old soul beast, Honglan Tianman, finally emerges from the dark clouds. Tiantou points a trembling paw, screaming that this is the exact beast that injured Lai Lai last night and urging him to attack. Gritting his teeth, he promises to let Mo Xi handle it. Mo Xie shoots forward like a rocket to unleash its giant form, but Tianman shows zero fear, snapping its massive jaws shut and biting down hard on the sword. Zhu Minglang remains completely silent, his face unreadable as he quickly calculates his next move. Dozens of fiery swords manifest around his body, and with a swift wave of his hand, he sends them blazing forward. Mo Xie suddenly appears directly above Tianman, conjuring spiritual chains that wrap around the giant beast to lock it down. But Tianman lets out a deafening roar, flexing its massive muscles to shatter the chains easily and leaving Zhu Minglang deeply concerned about his options. Just a moment ago, his sword effortlessly wiped the floor with the arrogant Diem Quan Kim Dia. Yet now, he can't even scratch this Tianman. The power gap between a 7,000-year beast and a 9,000-year beast is truly on a whole different level. Once again, its massive jaws snap open to swallow Makta. The mouth slams shut, trapping Makta inside. The sacred sword blazes with fire, yet it can't break free. Zhu Minglang stands frozen in absolute shock. A mental transmission from the sword warns him the stomach of this red-scaled sky beast is an infinite void. And here's where things get tricky. They have to strike from the outside to break the sword free. Tiantou frantically smacks his head, demanding to know how his sword got eaten by that snake. Zhu Minglang breaks into a cold sweat and replies, "It looks like we have to ask your master for help." Zhu Minglang stares wide-eyed, completely bewildered, asking, "Huh?" That is when brilliant streaks of light begin to appear. Bai Qi looks like a majestic deity, enveloped in floating clouds, his shimmering, glossy coat practically begging to be touched. Shocked, he realizes Bai Qi has actually leveled up. His eyes narrow as he gets serious. Seeing how absolutely gorgeous Bai Qi looks now, Zhu Minglang feels a wave of relief, putting all his trust in him. Fueled by his master's trust, he charges forward, lifting a colossal glacier that instantly shatters into hundreds of sharp ice shards. The surrounding beasts panic, screaming, "Run for your lives," as Bai Qi soars majestically through the clouds, surrounded by glowing ice. The ice shards rain down on the beast, freezing it solid. Suddenly, it realizes something is off, its pupils instantly constricting. Massive glaciers materialize across the sky, leaving the monster stunned. Zhu Minglang is just as shocked by this display. He honestly thought Bai Qi would hibernate for another half-month, never expecting him to complete his final evolution so quickly. Flexing his wrist, he remarks, "Perfect. A 9-year-old beast is just what my ice dragon needs to sharpen his claws." Completely encased in Bai Qi's thick ice, the giant beast struggles to take even a single step. Seizing the chance, Bai Qi delivers a brutal kick right to its face. Desperate, the monster opens its mouth to swallow him. Zhu Minglang sneers at the cheap trick as the serpent attempts to suck Bai Qi into its stomach with a vortex. He quickly warns his dragon, yelling, "Bai Qi, blast it with ice dragon breath." Instantly, a freezing gale erupts from the dragon. He commands Makta inside the belly, shouting, "My sword, the time has come." Following the freezing breath, the beast's head is completely frozen solid, allowing Makta to break free from its belly. Now check out this incredible team-up wrapped in blazing crimson light. Makta strikes like lightning, combining forces with Bai Qi to deliver a razor-sharp slash. Totally cornered, the beast has no escape. Makta slices its body clean in half, yet despite losing its head, its lower body keeps writhing. Seeing the severed lower half trying to flee, Tiantou screams in a panic, "Catch it! Don't let it escape!" Bai Qi quickly turns to track the scent, chasing after the monster, while dragging a massive block of solid ice with him. He hurls the giant ice block to cut off its escape, leaving the beast terrified as Makta circles menacingly right above its head. Zhu Minglang gently calls them off, saying, "Makta, stop. We already got its most valuable scale. Keeping the Cloud Sea Spirit Eye safe is what matters now." Shrinking back to a tiny size, Bai Qi perches on his shoulder. Tiantou squeals in delight, praising, "Little white dragon, you are absolutely amazing." Looking at his dragon with pure affection, Zhu Minglang realizes Bai Qi is likely at the mid-tier commander rank now, which officially gives him 2 powerhouse mid-tier commander dragon pets. Looking up at his sword floating in the sky, he knows Makta must fully awaken to unleash her true commander-grade potential, meaning they still need plenty of coordination practice. Stroking his chin, he thinks, "In that case, let's start practicing with sword riding." Zhu Minglang leaps aboard, and Makta takes off, gliding peacefully through the clouds, when suddenly, his foot slips. His eyes go wide in total panic as he takes a painful tumble right onto a cloud, tearfully looking up at his beloved, stubborn sword. He groans, "Makta, why did you take off so suddenly? My back is broken." Understanding his pain, the sword gently nods in apology. Summoning his courage, he hops right back on for another try. Thankfully, this flight seems much smoother. He cheers. "Yes, just like that. Keep it steady." Fast forward 2 days, and we see Vursa deep in cultivation, her glowing aura looking absolutely stunning. Watching her from above, Zhu Minglang mutters, "Looks like she has finished her cultivation." He calls out, "Makta, let's head down," but their landing is way too fast, making him yell, "Whoa, don't dive so suddenly." Completely unaware of his arrival, Vursa sighs, realizing her jade lantern is almost burnt out and they must leave this dragon realm immediately. Hearing a sudden panicked scream behind her, she spins around, only to see Zhu Minglang's face flying directly toward her at high speed. The crash landing shakes the entire area, leaving Zhu Minglang pinned right on top of Vursa in a very suggestive, awkward position. To make matters worse, Zhu Minglang's face lands exactly where it shouldn't, turning her cheeks bright red with instant embarrassment. Watching the whole thing, Tintho blushes in embarrassment, while a furious Vursa kicks him away, screaming, "You total pervert!" Night falls over the quiet courtyard as a satisfied sigh echoes from within. "Oh, that feels so good." Inside, Zhu Minglang completely loses himself in a steaming hot bath, finally enjoying a bit of hard-earned peace after a brutal day out there. Suddenly, the door flies open, and he scrambles to cover himself in sheer shock, yelling out that he is taking a bath, so keep out. The intruder is none other than his father, Thien Quan, who immediately teases him about only having girls on his mind. Zhu Minglang sighs in complete defeat, telling his dad that he literally just got back from the Dragon Kingdom of Yunji and was planning to visit right after. Annoyed by the backtalk, Thien Quan smacks him with a quick punch, barking at him to shut up because he came to deliver some major news, making Zhu Minglang rub his sore head and ask what it is. Is it good or bad? Thien Quan crosses his arms, proudly announcing that Li Xuan has officially been recognized as its own sovereign nation now. Hearing this, he leaps straight out of the tub and gets right in his dad's face, completely forgetting that he is stark naked. A recognized nation? Does that mean Li Yunzi is the new ruler now? And where exactly is she? Thien Quan clears his throat with a dry cough. Actually, she was not chosen as the monarch, but became the state grandmaster instead, while a certain commander named Trin is the new sovereign. Zhu Minglang instantly remembers the face of Uncle Trin, realizing that the very commander who once asked if he remembered him is now the Lord of Li Zuyen. Promoting Commander Trin actually seems like a pretty smart move since rumors say he is Li Yunzi's absolute most trusted confidant. His face turns serious as he analyzes the situation, knowing the Grandmaster holds way more real power than any monarch anyway, letting Li Yunzi pull the strings from the shadows. Now, here is a funny detail. He notices where his dad is looking, only for Thien Quan to turn away with a highly amused smirk. "Nothing at all," he says. "You are definitely my boy," leaving his clueless son standing there while he walks off with total majestic pride. The door shuts, and Zhu Minglang finally gets why his old man was laughing. Next, we cut to a quiet lake within the bamboo sect garden, where the silence is almost eerie. Zhu Minglang rests on a small wooden boat, taking in the fresh air now that everything here is finally settled. It is a shame Li Yunzi did not visit Fengquan, meaning he will definitely have to travel back to the Li Suyen continent himself. His boat gently bumps into another drifting vessel, and when Zhu Minglang looks up, he is shocked to see Nan Lingsha sitting right there. He asks if she is out for a row too, but when she stays silent, he curiously wonders if something is bothering her. Li Yunzi coldly responds that nothing is wrong, so Zhu Minglang decides to casually share his plans with her. Since Li Yunzi is not coming to Fengquan, we do not need to wait around for the anniversary festival, so how about we head back to Li Xuan after resting? Li Yunzi turns her head, slowly replying that she wants to travel around and will not return to Li Xian just yet, leaving him completely stunned. Zhu Minglang scratches his head with a forced laugh, telling her that they might have to part ways for a little while then. He warns Nan Lingsha to be extremely careful wandering the extreme continent alone as the two of them float on the water, sharing their deep thoughts. He asks if she has any destination in mind or needs some recommendations, making her curiously tell him to give it a shot. As their boat docks and they step onto the shore, he suggests that she could visit Tuyet Huaquac Tu to see the beautiful snow butterfly spirits, or maybe head over to Marnthan instead. That is a coastal city in Neihai. But suddenly, he spots a highly familiar figure sitting right by the doorway. Sitting there quietly reading a book is Nan Lingsha, making Zhu Minglang's face instantly turn completely pale. Blinking in sheer disbelief, he looks back and forth between the two ladies to find any physical difference. How can they clone themselves if they share one body, he wonders, while Li Yunzi calmly closes her eyes. A grim realization hits him. Turning quickly to the girl right next to him, he calls her name. She nods. She is indeed Li Yunzi. Absolute panic sets in as he fears for his survival. You can just feel the instant regret hitting him. He did not even recognize his own wife, and her silence means she was testing him, leaving him completely frozen. Thank goodness he did not do anything inappropriate, because dealing with his wife is way more terrifying than fighting hordes of deadly monsters. Seeing his frozen expression, Li Yunzi crosses her arms and coldly asks if he is unhappy to see her. Zhu Minglang quickly denies it, stammering that he is just extremely excited, but she simply smiles and subtly drops a hint for him to leave. She tells him that she needs to speak with Nan Lingsha for a bit and will find him later, so he obediently waits in the courtyard. Suddenly, a loud, panicked cry echoes out as Fang Nianian comes running over as if the entire house is on fire. She whispers urgently in his ear that the two sisters are fighting, and he needs to check it out because Li Yunzi and Nan Lingsha are in a massive argument. One look is enough to tell that the two of them are totally hostile and completely at odds. He lets out a defeated sigh, asking if she was eavesdropping, but she just waves it off with a sheepish grin, claiming she just happened to pass by. She quickly runs off to do her own chores, leaving Zhu Minglang to wonder if the bad blood between Li Yunzi and Nan Lingsha has anything to do with the Star Calamity. Maybe Nan Lingsha only hates Li Yunzi, while actually being pretty close with the Star Calamity herself. Before Fang Nianian can get too far, he calls out to stop her, wanting to ask a few questions, which leaves her highly confused. It is like hitting her favorite topic, as she immediately rants about how Nan Lingsha is always acting hot and cold, finally realizing it is because they are two souls in one body. Zhu Minglang nods along in agreement, noting she just mentioned Li Yunzi and Lady Nam were having a fight. Fang Nianian turns away with a frustrated pout, muttering that it might not be Sister Nan Lingsha and she needs to check again. But as she spins around, she bumps straight into Li Yunzi, instantly panicking. Since she called out for the Lady Commander, Li Yunzi confirms it's her, making Fang Nianian bow deeply in a panic. Leaving them to talk, Fang Nianian slips away. But as Li Yunzi approaches Zhu Minglang, he immediately grows anxious seeing how incredibly pale and exhausted she looks. Gently placing a hand on his wife's shoulder, he asks if she just had a fight with Lady Nam. Li Yunzi softly replies that it's fine since they are quite used to this. Yet, her eyes hide a deep sadness as she whispers that she has a favor to ask of him. Surprised by her request, Zhu Minglang asks what she could possibly need from him. Li Yunzi speaks softly, reminding him that she and Tinhua share one body with two souls, meaning she can't just keep occupying this physical form forever. Since Tinhua has absolutely no way to defend herself, enemies in Yangcheng easily took advantage of her. Her words instantly trigger a memory of their first passionate night together, making him wonder if that woman really wasn't Li Yunzi at all. No, he tells himself. All that matters is the Silkworm House on the road to ancestral Dragon City State and Vinkok. From here on out, the one standing by his side will be Li Yunzi, and that's more than enough. Noticing his mind wandering, she looks up with worry, asking what he is thinking about. Squeezing her hand, Zhu Minglang reassures her that it is nothing and promises to keep their secret safe forever. Yet, a shadow of profound sadness washes over Li Yunzi's face. She trusts him, but he instantly senses something is wrong because her hands feel completely ice cold. Her energy is incredibly weak, making him worry that her old wounds never fully healed. Suddenly, she collapses against his shoulder, barely whispering that she is fine. Terrified, he cries out, Li Yunzi, what is wrong with you? Back at the house, a sweating and exhausted Li Yunzi lies in bed with her soul severely fractured. As Physician Xin nervously delivers the grim report to Zhu Minglang and Nan Lingsha, she cannot be cured and does not have much time left, leaving Zhu Minglang completely baffled, demanding a clearer explanation. Sweeping her sharp gaze over her sister, Nan Lingsha immediately recognizes the issue, realizing this is the devastating price of the soul-burning sacrifice. Hearing this, Physician Xin is utterly shocked, asking if they are truly descendants of the legendary Shenji, while Zhu Minglang stands there completely bewildered by this term. With a heavy heart, Nan Lingsha explains that the soul-burning sacrifice is an ancient art inherited from their mother, which burns one's life soul to obtain divine power from the heavens. Li Yunzi used this taboo technique to crush the Ruiguo army, fracturing her own soul just to drag her fading body back to see him. Clenching his fists in rage, he grinds his teeth. Why did this happen? He blames himself, saying he should have stayed in Lichuan to fight Ruiguo alongside her, as Nan Lingsha tries to calm his rising panic. Don't blame yourself, she says, because if you hadn't won the grand competition. Physician Xin also chimes in to agree, adding that even if she successfully resisted Ruiguo, losing her territory to other greedy factions would have been far worse. Indeed, Zhu Minglang, you should not despair, as there are countless rare treasures scattered across this vast world. Even with her soul in such a fragile state, there is actually still a way to save her, making Zhu Minglang anxiously ask what it is. Nan Lingsha listens closely as the physician explains the cure. Our grandmother once told us that if we ever use the soul-burning sacrifice, we must find the ancient lantern jade to mend our fading spirit, or else we cannot survive past 25. His face turns incredibly serious as he declares that 25 is too young, meaning he must find this jade without any delay. She closes her eyes, knowing it is never that easy, especially since their mother had to sacrifice her own life. Our mother split our souls into the bodies of Nan Lingsha and Li Yunzi, but if we had the ancient lantern jade back then, mother might still be alive. Looking at the bed with heavy, sorrowful eyes, she admits she has searched through countless forbidden temples over the years. Yet, She never found a single trace of the ancient lantern jade anywhere in Lichuan, as Physician Shin sighs, explaining why. He explains that legend claims the ancient lantern jade was the sacred treasure of the original dragon god sect, once held by the Shenji of the ancestral dragon. But when the dragon god sect fractured, it split into various factions like the Zealand sect and Kanglong Temple. As institutions like the Gulong Palace and the Dragon Taming Academy emerged, the jade was shattered, with each piece becoming a supreme symbol of power. Even some of the oldest empires used these ancient fragments to craft their royal seals. They became the ultimate representation of sovereign rule, leading Zhu Minglang to realize these fragments are now the crown jewels of powerful nations. He asks if the imperial capital might hold one, but Nanlingsha warns him that these nations would never hand over their sacred treasure unless their very survival depended on it. But get this, Physician Jin suddenly plays dumb, muttering about royal symbols and what the capital even has. Seeing him look so gloomy, they feel helpless before his quiet sorrow, as he sits in a silent daze right beside his wife's sickbed. She could have been like any other young lady, peacefully watching flowers bloom in a quiet garden courtyard. Yet she constantly throws herself onto the battlefield, wasting her life and soul just when peace was finally within reach. Out of nowhere, fate is stealing her time away, robbing him of the precious moments he has left with her. After thinking it over, he stands up and tells the others, "Look after her well." Zhu Minglang turns to leave, forced to seek out his only hope left. He decides to go ask his father. Cut to Thien Quan's home, where a sharp scream rings out. What? The old man panics when he hears the whole crazy story. My daughter-in-law is dying because she used a forbidden, soul-damaging art? Zhu Minglang's eyes turn sharp, knowing only the legendary Thun Ko Dong Ngok can save her now. Does the imperial family have one? Thien Quan sighs, looking totally defeated. This is going to be tough, they don't have it. You know how rare Dong Ngok is, especially with the Van Qilong nation keeping a tight grip on things. If the royals had the Thun Ko Dong Ngok, they would have traded it to the Van Qilong nation for resources ages ago. Zhu Minglang asks, so what do we do? Surely other sects or nations have it. His father gives a vague reply, it's mostly a myth anyway, so I really don't know. Both men stare at each other in grim silence. Is there really no way for Li Yunzi? Is my lovely daughter-in-law truly doomed? Thien Quan racks his brain to find any way to save her. Suddenly, he remembers something and claps Zhu Minglang on the shoulder. Check this out. He throws his arm around his son's neck, whispering that his mom's Mu Sun sword sect definitely has it. A tiny ray of hope lights up Zhu Minglang's eyes. Really? But Thien Quan's face turns slightly hesitant and pensive. Back when I married your mother, that was the only time they ever let me set foot inside the Mu Sun sword sect. I saw an ancient tower holding a legendary jade lamp. He stares into space. I didn't know what it was back then, but thinking about it now, that has to be the Thun Ko Dong Ngok. He decides to head out immediately. Saving his wife cannot wait a single second. I'm going to see my mother right now. Thien Quan quickly grabs him. Son, hold on, he warns Zhu Minglang. You know the Mu Sun sword sect doesn't just let random men climb their mountain, let alone go up there to steal their sacred treasure. We need a careful plan for this. Zhu Minglang's face freezes. Then what are we supposed to do, Dad? Thien Quan leans close and whispers, here's the plan. Get Ingo Fong to write you a formal visitation letter. Use the Jiao Sun sword sect's name to visit Mio Sun, and sneak off to steal their Thun Ko Dong Ngok while they aren't looking. Zhu Minglang immediately protests. Stealing? No way, Dad. His father looks at him dead serious. What do you mean, no way? Your mother literally runs the Mu Sun sword sect. How is taking something from your own mom considered stealing? Zhu Minglang scratches his head awkwardly. Easy for you to say. But what if I actually get caught by them? Thien Quan waves it off, promising him no worries. If you get caught, blame me. Let your mom come find me, or have her call me to bail you out. A sly grin spreads across his face that way. I finally get to see your mother again. Once we meet, everything will sort itself out. Honestly, can you blame him for being suspicious? Zhu Minglang strokes his chin, asking if his dad is just shamelessly using him for some personal goal. Thien Quan turns his face away with a loud sigh. Would a great father like me ever use his own son? This is literally killing two birds with one stone. Besides, wanting to see my own beloved wife is not sneaky at all. Cut to the Jiao Sun sword sect's local branch at Lan Lam Villa, where Ingo Fong's booming voice echoes across the courtyard. Your Mio Sun sword sect focuses heavily on flying swords, while our Jiao Sun sword sect prioritizes close-quarters sword combat. He stands proudly by the table, explaining this to Morgnew's sisters. When it comes to combat, our finest warrior in Jiao Sun is obviously. Suddenly, another figure steps inside the room. Ngo Fong smiles warmly to welcome the newcomer. Oh, you are here? Morgnew turns her head to look. Is this so-called finest warrior really him? It's none other than Zhu Minglang. Wow, is everyone gathered here? He leans cockily against the doorframe. I really shouldn't take that title of the finest. Ngo Fong quickly shakes his head to clarify, of course not. The strongest in our sect is actually Zhu Minglang's master, Truk Tuet Ingan. Before he can even brag, he gets totally brought down to earth. Mortified by the burn, he clears his throat. Senior brother Ingo Fong. I actually came to visit Musan to learn a bit about their flying sword style. Zhu Minglang looks at Mokmu. I didn't expect the Musan disciples to be here. This is perfect, I can ask you directly. Ngu Fong nods approvingly. Our junior brother makes a great point. We sword cultivators can't just stand still forever. This is a great chance for our two sects to share and learn from each other's paths. Hearing Zhu Minglang's polite request, she turns back to address Ngo Fong. Over the past few days, Uncle Ingo has only touched upon a fraction of the Musan sword path. Yet we have already gained so much valuable insight. If we can exchange ideas more, it will definitely help push our cultivation to a whole new level. Morgnu says she will ask her elders to arrange this. Zhu Minglang politely cups his hands to thank her for the help. Then I will trouble you all. She gives a polite, formal smile. Senior brother Zhu Minglang, you must be joking technically. You are still the young master of our Myosan sword sect. He awkwardly recalls how he got absolutely thrashed back then for saying the exact same thing when barging into the Musan sword sect. Seeing this, Huamaru starts whining to Ngo Fong. He begs his uncle to let him tag along, but Ngo Fong tells him he cannot decide. He has to ask his little uncle, Zhu Minglang. So he immediately clings to Zhu Minglang, pleading with teary, puppy dog eyes. But the little uncle just shoots him a cold look. Get your claws off me. I do not play that way. Undeterred, Huamaru literally grabs his leg to throw a tantrum. Little uncle, please take me along. Zhu Minglang scowls, asking, are you not normally a pretty proud and noble brat? Why the sudden change? Left with no choice, he finally compromises. Fine. I will take you, now get off me. With that settled, No Fong turns to leave, but Zhu Minglang pulls him back. Senior brother, where are you off to? He smiles awkwardly, saying he is packing. The Musan sword sect has countless beauties. Wait. I mean, they have countless martial arts masters. This senior brother of yours is almost 40, so I naturally want to exchange pointers with their masters. Hearing this, both Zhu Minglang and Huamaru freeze. Speechless, they listen to his excuses about not standing still and wanting to share deep insights on the path of the sword. So this was his real goal all along. Truly, their uncle is a master of excuses. Night falls, and on his way back, Zhu Minglang ponders the long journey ahead. Flying high in the cold, harsh wind is just too dangerous for Li Yunzi's frail body. It looks like they will have to take the slow route on the ground to stay safe. Looking at his house, Zhu Minglang anxiously wonders how his wife is doing. He gently pushes the door open, making a sharp creaking sound. Zhu Minglang gasps in shock at the figure by the window, blurting out, Li Yunzi, you are awake? Tinhua suddenly turns around, accidentally knocking a flower pot off the sill. Reacting instantly, Zhu Minglang leaps forward with incredible speed to save it. Catching the falling pot just in time, he reassures her, do not worry, I got it. But looking closer, he asks suspiciously, are you Lady Tinhua? Tinhua turns away awkwardly, her cheeks flushing red as she covers her face. Rubbing his chin, he realizes the real Li Yunzi would never avoid his gaze like this. So, you are indeed her, he stammers, his eyes wide with a mix of shock and utter embarrassment. My bad, I completely mistook you for her earlier. Tinhua quickly recovers, calmly answering that it is quite all right. Meanwhile, Zhu Minglang shows his thoughtful side, though a hint of worry still lingers on his face. We are leaving the imperial capital tomorrow, and I have already prepared some special dragon beast carriages for Li Yunzi. In that quiet moment, Tinhua gazes back with eyes as golden as the moonlight. Her face is pretty calm, but every word she speaks carries a heavy, painful weight. She is not going to wake up anytime soon. But you do not need to worry too much, she just needs to rest for a while longer. From now on, the one who wakes up will likely be me. Zhu Minglang sinks into deep thought, his mind torn by worry as he offers a polite but gentle sigh. I understand, and you do not look very well yourself, Lady Tinhua. Please rest up, I will not disturb you any longer. Her eyes shimmer as she looks at him, seemingly putting all her hopes in a single nod. When we set off tomorrow, can we leave through the northern gate? But instead of a nod, his answer comes with a rather clueless, innocent look on his face. Rubbing his chin, he innocently notes that going north is a pretty huge detour since their destination lies west. Tinhua smiles, a hint of disappointment flashing in her eyes. Underneath the vast, starry night sky, the bright moonlight really highlights how gorgeous she truly is. Zhu Minglang suddenly gets flustered, his cheeks turning red as he looks at her shimmering eyes. But if you really want to go through the northern gate, then that is exactly what we will do. Soon, morning light breaks over the cliffs as birds begin to chirp. Stretching to welcome the fresh morning, Zhu Minglang looks over at her bedroom window and freezes, his jaw dropping in total shock. But wait until you see this, he looks at the plant, and finally understands her sleepless night. Did she seriously stay up all night just to nurse a dying orchid back to life? Pushing the door open, his eyes widen in surprise as he gasps. Right in front of him are two girls walking side by side, looking incredibly happy and relaxed together. Vornan Lingsha beams with a bright smile, looking at Tinhua with pure affection. Smiling warmly, Zhu Minglang greets them with his usual charming and confident look. You two ladies certainly woke up pretty early today. Vornan Lingsha glares back with a pretty suspicious frown, holding Tinhua tightly by the hand as if warning him to keep his distance. Zhu Minglang. This is Sister Tinhua, so do not even think about pulling any of your funny business with her. Caught off guard, Tinhua blushes in embarrassment but quickly tries to calm things down. Vornan Lingsha, do not be so rude. Zhu Minglang raises his hands in mock defeat. It is fine. We are all practically family now, so you ladies can say whatever you like. He looks pretty annoyed, offering a weak, forced smile with a sweat drop on his temple in a hilariously frustrated way. He sighs, my sister-in-law is way too stubborn. Meanwhile, Xinghua looks quite calm and serious, her glowing golden eyes searching yet filled with real determination. Zhu Minglang. Earlier, Yusha and I were talking about the ancestral dragon ruins. There must be ancient god dragon jades there, and besides, both of you are skilled dragon masters. Those ruins hold plenty of treasures that can boost your cultivation. If we happen to spot any ancestral dragon ruins along our journey, we should definitely head inside. Minglang looks tense. Always the realistic thinker, he plans ahead, keeping his mind sharp and clear. He has zero delusions. But we have absolutely no clues, making it tough to find the entrance. Yet, Lingsha remains pretty optimistic. Not at all. Sister Xinghua can easily read the stars to guide us straight to the entrance. Minglang immediately brightens up, his confident smile bursting with hope and absolute determination. This quick shift shows he is feeling much more optimistic, right? Xinghua is a stargazer, so could she have been observing the night sky yesterday to search for those dragon jades? If we actually find them, Yunzi can wake up soon and look, Nianian is already rushing in with some seriously urgent news. The disciples of the Miaoshan sword sect are already waiting outside. We should set off right now. He turns with a sharp, incredibly focused gaze, his serious expression showing his strong leadership as he makes a quick decision, saying, all right, let us head out. The grand sign of the Cuting Imperial Department appears, marking a highly crucial spot near the west gate. A massive bridge arches over the bustling river below, filled with small stalls and passing crowds. As Xingsheng speaks with a fierce, deadly serious look, do not worry, big brother. He scowls, baring his teeth and clenching his jaw as absolute fury and pure determination wash over his face. Today, I am definitely going to drag that brat named Zhu alive to Shao Kong's grave to avenge my nephew's tragic death. Huang Ming offers a gentle smile, his eyes soft as he bows with his hands clasped respectfully. He asks Commander Hao, long time no see, did you just return from the battlefield? Xingsheng looks pretty serious, raising his voice sharply. He barks out, you came at the perfect time. Go find out which city gate the Miaoshan and Jiaoshan sects are taking. The soldier's eyes widen with a bit of surprise and doubt, his mouth open as if questioning the order. He replies, early this morning during patrol, I saw some Miaoshan disciples heading out from the north gate. They left a while ago. Do you plan to ambush them, Commander? Xingsheng's face instantly contorts with pure rage, his features tightening as his eyebrows heavily knit together in frustration. His eyes pop wide with absolute fury as he roars that Jew sect brat killed my nephew. How could I ever let him go? Damn it, aren't they headed to Miaoshan? Cunning bastards, to think they would leave from the north gate instead. Outside, flags flutter under a clear sky while our group discusses their route indoors. Taking the north gate means they have to take a major detour. Normally, we would have reached the border city by now, where there is a long, open stretch perfect for flying. Mengru glares straight at him, her sharp eyes showing a mix of genuine concern and annoyance as she demands, so why did we take the north gate anyway? You still haven't given me a straight answer. Minglang hesitates, looking pretty awkward as if hiding a secret. Well, about that, actually just then, Yunchuan drops to his knees with his hands respectfully clasped, his partially covered face showing deep respect. He says, young master, your uncle wanted me to warn you that the Hao family has an imperial commander named Hao Xingsheng lying in wait to ambush us. They even set up an ambush at the west gate this morning, planning to drag you straight to Shao Kong's grave. His brows furrow deeply, his focused gaze locked straight ahead. He nods, all right, I understand. Yunchuan then hands over a map scroll with a very formal, decisive gesture. He says, young master, this map shows all of our Jew sect strongholds and key bases across the entire continent. You can look it over first if you need. Minglang keeps a serious and focused expression, his eyes locked onto the map scroll, now resting in his hands. He replies, good, now go back. I will be perfectly fine here. Hearing this, Mengru looks totally shocked and slightly panicked, sweat beads forming on her brow. She gasps, wait, did you seriously know beforehand that someone was going to ambush us? Minglang shoots a highly mischievous glance toward Jinghua, looking incredibly clever as he teases, why don't you take a guess? The mysterious night sky opens up with a bright, glowing moon and endless stars, while the lush green trees behind them create a deeply mystical vibe. Minglang sits back in a relaxed yet serious posture, keeping his eyes on the girl. He asks, "Did you really foresee that someone would try to block our path?" Xinghua sits right across from him, her head slightly lowered in a shy manner. Silent hesitation. She weighs her words very carefully. She softly explains, "I only knew that some trouble was heading our way, but the exact details were impossible to foresee." Minglang leans forward, intensely focused and eager for a clearer answer. He asks, "So can your stars tell us if our mission is going to succeed or fail? Like whether we can actually get our hands on the ancient jade lantern?" She sounds pretty certain about hitting the goal but stays completely vague on the actual cost. "Yes, we can grab it, but what we have to pay remains a total mystery." Zhu Minglang stares in deep doubt, searching for solid answers to things his mind just cannot explain. "How do you even predict the future?" he asks as Tinhua looks back with a serious yet dreamy gaze. Her confession is brutally cold. She explains that future events simply appear in her sleep just like a dream. His doubt slowly fades into belief, prompting him to ask his next question in an almost soft voice. "Then how do you tell a normal dream apart from things that will actually happen?" he wonders while she drops her guard. Her voice is calm and steady. Like someone totally used to this strange power, you either wait for signs or seek them out. "Things that happen in my dreams always leave a few lingering details in my head. But once I wake up, if those same details almost match reality, then those exact events will truly happen. The more signs that pop up, the faster it happens, leaving Zhu Minglang still doubtful as he asks for an example. Tinhua picks up a cup of water and splashes it out, a powerful metaphor for doing completely normal everyday things. For instance, maybe some water spills while drinking. She looks out the window, staring far into the distance, or maybe while walking around, a random bird suddenly catches your eye. Her face is half hidden, but you can still feel a pretty cold vibe from her. Or, as Tinhua simply puts it, the very fact that you are sitting here talking to me. Zhu Minglang feels the air freeze. She softens up, surprised by a strange new feeling, as the tense atmosphere shifts into something quiet and deep. You know that eerie feeling when a massive wave of familiarity hits, like you have already lived through this exact moment? Sitting opposite him, Tinhua speaks softly, but her words strike deep. She admits that when he mistook her for Li Yunzi last night, she felt that exact same strange familiarity. Because of this, she predicted that a whole chain of future events from her dream would actually come true. Like if we went through the West Gate, someone would get hurt and bleed out. But unfortunately, those visions are pretty fragmented and incomplete, just like a shredded painting. Looking down with lowered eyelashes, she seems lost in deep thought before trying to stay calm, explaining that this is why she suggested they all go through the North Gate instead. Tinhua keeps quiet with teary, red eyes. Dead silence. Zhu Minglang sits there completely puzzled, thinking to himself. The girl standing in front of him is clearly Li Yunzi, but her tone, expression, and vibe are totally different. Right. Lei Tinhua and Li Yunzi are two completely separate souls who just happen to share the same body. Her eyes sparkle as her cheeks turn pink. "Why are you staring at me like that?" she asks. Blushing, he steals a quick glance at Tinhua and fake coughs to break the tension. "So can you predict love fortunes?" Her eyes meet his with a pretty soft but curious look, her calm voice sounding casual, yet carrying a deeper hidden meaning. "Sure, who do you want me to read for?" Tinhua asks, reading his mind, "and how do you want to do it?" Zhu Minglang squeezes his eyes shut, grinning like a fool while sweating bullets as he waves his hands. "Read for me, obviously." "No, wait, read for Li Yunzi instead." "Actually, forget it if you know everything beforehand. Life loses all its fun anyway." Tinhua lets out a soft laugh, gracefully covering her mouth as her cheeks flush a pretty shade of peach blossom pink. His eyes soften up, all his defenses melt away. He blushes a bit, completely lost in her beautiful smile. Lady Tinhua's smile is so incredibly gentle, without that icy distance that usually pushes people 1,000 miles away. She feels just like a warm, caring older sister. But Zhu Minglang quickly pulls himself back together, reverting to his calm, cold, and utterly polite but completely serious look. "My lady, this might sound a bit rude, but I still really need to know. Since you can foresee the future, you must have had a way to prevent the whole Yongcheng disaster, right?" Tinhua looks back with a serious, questioning gaze. "Have you ever actually thought about this? Why did everything fall into place so perfectly for you?" His eyes widen in complete shock as sweat drips down his temple, his core beliefs and logic completely shaken. "Is it possible that you actually changed destiny itself?" Gone is her shy sweetness and cold distance now. She looks completely calm and understanding, yet a faint trace of deep fear still lingers in her eyes. "I am no god. I cannot change fate. Maybe we could have avoided some things, but doing so would only trigger an even more tragic disaster. The outcome we have right now is already the absolute best we could hope for." "Didn't you want to know Li Yunzi's romantic fate?" she asks. Yongcheng is the answer. Zhu Minglang frowns in total confusion. His voice quickens. "Do you mean even if I never showed up in that dungeon, Li Yunzi and I would still end up together?" His voice sounds completely firm now, with no trace of the earlier confusion or doubt as he says, "I accept the truth. I understand. Zhu Minglang stands up, polite but looking a bit downcast, saying, "It is late. I will not disturb your rest any longer." Tin Hoa adopts a rather serious expression, showing absolute respect for the matter before revealing a secret to him. Li Yunzi knows absolutely nothing about this. She says, "I am only sharing these words with you, young master." Zhu Minglang pushes the door open, turning back with a soft smile that silently answers her, and says, "Thank you for being so frank, Lady Tin Hoa." Standing out in the corridor, he leans back against the door. His distant gaze is filled with loneliness and a storm of emotions, showing a deep sense of doubt and worry about fate and these sudden changes. Has she really not changed? Even if the final outcome stays the same, the details of fate are definitely starting to shift. Zhu Minglang's eyes grow sharp yet deeply sorrowful, showing a powerful resolve that is heavily burdened by worry. He is fully prepared for whatever comes, thinking, if the person trapped in that dungeon is not me, it will leave a terribly painful memory in Li Yunzi's heart. If so, just let me go to the dungeon instead. Tin Hoa stands in a daze, staring out the window at the distant stars that paint a deeply peaceful yet melancholic night scene. Her eyes are quiet and hazy with nostalgia, her long lashes slightly casting down as she stares blankly into the familiar distance. Amidst the green tranquility of the forest, Ngofeng looks serious, his wide, alert eyes showing clear signs of worry and warning. There is a flock of iron eagles nesting right here, so if we fly over, they will treat us as intruders and launch a massive attack. He maintains a calm composure, holding a water flask in one hand, as if totally relaxed. Making his decision with ease, he says, "So once everyone is rested, we will just have to cross this grassland on foot for now." Zhu Minglang nods slightly, his sharp gaze and solemn face unchanged, and says, "All right, let us proceed just as you suggest, senior brother." Trungha grins widely, showing his admiration for the painting Nan Lingsha just made, and says, "Lady, this drawing is truly beautiful." Her eyes are freezing cold yet strangely mesmerizing as she glances back at him with an incredibly noble aura. Trungha stands politely with clasped hands, his eyes full of hope as he says, "I am Van Trungha. We once competed in the Clockwork City. But wait, watch this." His high hopes get instantly crushed by Nan Lingsha's utterly blank expression. Why is she looking at him like that? Who are you? Do I even know you? Is that how it is? Do losers not even deserve to be named? Her slender hand casually lets the painting fall to the ground with a swift yet incredibly graceful motion, her face completely expressionless. She keeps her eyes half closed, not even caring that Trungha exists, while he stands completely frozen on the spot. His body goes stiff with a blank stare and a distorted expression, while Nan Lingsha walks past him toward Tin Hoa, sitting lonely in the corner, ignoring everything else. She gently places a hand on Tin Hoa's shoulder, her eyes full of concern, and asks, "What is wrong?" Nan Lingsha's face turns pensive, her gentle eyes showing a trace of worry as she patiently waits for an answer. "What did you see?" she asks, as Tin Hoa buries her face in her hands, deeply terrified and filled with anxiety over a scary vision near the grassland edge. Nan Lingsha looks at her with a serious, sharp gaze, asking with deep curiosity about the nature of this dream. "Does that mean you keep dreaming of frightening things, just like the events we are going through right now?" Staring out into the distance with a thoughtful expression, she replies softly, "Yes, that is right." Nan Lingsha keeps a warm, reassuring hand on her shoulder, trying to comfort Tin Hoa, who is visibly distressed and deeply unsettled. Everything feels blurry. She is not sure if it already happened, saying, "It is too vague, I do not know." Nan Lingsha stands up with firm resolve. "Let me go check." While Tin Hoa is still extremely hesitant and full of doubt, Nan Lingsha stands completely upright with a highly confident gaze and a soft smile, gently placing her hand on Tin Hoa's head to comfort and protect her. "Do not worry. Do you not trust my strength?" she asks, just as Zhu Minglang walks over with a commanding aura and inquires, "What is going on here?" She responds with a very calm yet incredibly firm expression. "I'm going to the edge of the grassland to check the situation," she says, catching him slightly off guard as he frowns thoughtfully. "Why so sudden? Has Lady Tin Hoa seen another vision of the future already?" With a sharp, resolute look in his eyes, Zhu Minglang declares with full determination, "I am coming with you," stating it as a fact, not a question. He turns around, calmly and systematically dividing their tasks with a very serious look. "Niem, go talk to Lady Tin Hoa while Nan Lingsha and I scout the area." Niem immediately agrees without a second thought. "Understood," she replies. Out on the vast grassland, the two of them stand on a small boat, Zhu Minglang looking somewhat alert. With a serious look of concern, he says, "I have a few doubts. Does everything Lady Xinghua sees in her dreams have to do with her?" Lingsha says with conviction, as if she has spent a long time pondering this very question. Regardless of whether those tragic events directly involve her or not, they will always force their way into her dreams. In her dreams, she even ends up living as the victim, personally experiencing those terrors, until she wakes. Minglang cannot hide his shock and deep pity asking if that is not incredibly painful. Her face is resolute, and her gaze is cold, full of logical reason as she clearly analyzes every single possibility. If the event has not happened yet and can be stopped in time, that nightmare torment will completely vanish. But if they have already occurred, those sufferings will linger like restless spirits inside her heart for a long time, completely keeping her from sleeping. Minglang has a pensive and thoughtful look, his eyes no longer as firm as before, turning deep and heavy instead, as if he is carrying an unspoken burden. Is this really the heavy price a prophet must pay? Lingsha does not show much emotion, but her determined gaze says it all. Xinghua is suffering from prophetic backlash, which is why she spends most of her time asleep and unconscious, so she can avoid seeing things she should never have to see. This is exactly what we were dreading. With Yunzi injured, Xinghua is awake longer than ever, meaning her worst torment has officially begun. He wears a troubled expression, his slightly downcast eyes reflecting a very deep, genuine concern and worry. If we can eliminate all those things invading Xinghua's dreams, can we completely erase the intense suffering brought by this backlash? Lingsha remains calm, but her eyes half closed as she sinks deep into thought. The best way is to prevent these tragedies from happening since the things she sees in her dreams are incredibly brutal. Minglang furrows his brow, his sharp gaze piercing through to a vital truth, tension clearly written all over his face. He gets lost in thought, staring into the distance with regret, while unconsciously clenching his fist to hold back his rising emotions. So that is it. Yunzi once said she wanted to ask me for a favor, but she never got to say it. Finally, now I know. Rest easy, Yunzi. During this time, I will make absolutely sure to protect Lady Xinghua for you. Suddenly, something appears that catches them both off guard. Lingsha's eyes widen, her brows raised as sweat beads on her cheek in pure shock and rising panic. In the distance, on a high, rocky cliff, a blazing red flame erupts under the gray sky like an ominous warning. Still, their boat glides fast and forward across the dark, eerie waters. Stepping onto the shore, they stand before a gloomy, mysterious area where massive stone pillars surround a stream of glowing red lava. He finds it incredibly strange these giant stone pillars seem to be trapping something inside. And right here, you can see Lingsha's face completely freeze as she looks up, utterly paralyzed by absolute shock. Even Minglang is the same, his highly alert gaze locked forward as he senses grave danger. Bound tightly to the cliffside is a person, their entire body covered in deep cuts. Their eyes are wrapped in a white cloth, and they are likely blind, with blood seeping heavily through the fabric. Submerged in a deep crimson pool of blood, the captives inside are covered in brutal wounds. Their eyes are completely gone, leaving both of them horrified to realize these victims are all slaves. Lingsha slams her fist against a rock in sheer rage at this cruelty. Her gaze turns sharp, ice cold. With a shocked yet grave expression, her voice carries a mix of disbelief and caution as she realizes this is an evil sacrificial altar. Minglang's eyes widen, tension deeply creasing his brow as a wave of intense anger and frustration washes over him, remembering those brutal, merciless acts. I remember that in the west of Lu Yuan, there is a slave city that specializes in trading defeated slaves and people from wild tribes. I'm afraid some dark sect brought these slaves here, gouged out their eyes, and slaughtered them as offerings to an evil entity. Lingsha wears a serious, thoughtful expression as she speaks of an impending crisis. Her voice carries a deep trace of worry but absolute certainty. What Xinghua saw is likely happening now, but clearly, this place has already. Suddenly, he raises a hand to signal for absolute silence, as if something is drawing near. Minglang points straight ahead with a grim look, and she follows his gaze, completely stunned. Look there, a giant leech suddenly leaps high out from the pool of blood. Surrounded by a sinister aura, its glowing red eyes are full of pure malice. His brow furrows deeply, his sharp gaze highlighting the severe danger of their situation. These leeches are transforming into dragons. Minglang registers the immense threat from this giant, dark leech, which is completely enveloped in a menacing, blazing red fire. These creatures thrive on the resentment of cursed blood, and if they all turn into dragons, they will slaughter countless innocent lives. With a sharp gaze and a grim look, Lingsha focuses intently as she unfurls a pristine canvas. Thick white clouds of smoke billow out from the painting as a soft, radiant light shines. Grasping the glowing canvas, she looks up toward the sky. The scene is pure mystery. Thick, dark clouds blanket the sky while lightning rips through the heavens, splitting everything in half. Rain begins to fall. Heavy droplets pour down like sharp, shattered glass, constantly pelting the earth below. It stabs into the leech's body, taking it by surprise. Red eyes lock onto whatever just touched it. Zhu Minglang stares forward with absolute shock written all over his face. It just transformed, yet it already possesses a mighty dragon general aura. He widens his eyes. You can feel his intense stress right here as he channels absolute focus onto the target ahead. He yells a commanding shout, "Than Trak, purify it." Meanwhile, the leech frantically struggles against the swirling vortex, driving tension sky high. "Than Trak, do not let it escape." The majestic dragon shines with an intensely brilliant, fierce aura, carrying holy power in its proud, furious gaze. Opening its mouth wide, it unleashes a blinding beam of sacred energy. The hideous leech screeches in a fit of fury. Its body is encased in a rock-hard, reddish-black shell, radiating an ominous, dark purple mist all around. Thontrock hovers majestically, radiating an incredibly divine and otherworldly presence. Its eyes gleam like deep emeralds. A long, sharply curved horn rises elegantly, adding to its grand, regal look. Against this epic backdrop, it soars into the sky, unleashing a brilliant emerald glow that burns like holy fire. Outstretched wings radiate pure, life-giving natural energy. Suddenly, a heavy quiet falls over the entire area. Zhu Minglang looks on solemnly, thinking of Tin Huar. Her eyes remain closed as her body is bathed in a soft, gentle light. Purifying this land will prevent vile, demonic creatures from ever appearing. They will be wiped out completely before they can even be born. That is the ultimate act of kindness. Perhaps heaven pities living souls but simply cannot guard them all, which is why it granted Tin Hora her prophetic power. Nan Lingsha maintains a serious, almost chilly look as she makes her demand. You should clear away those lingering grudges too, she says, as he gives her a hilariously clueless, innocent look in return. Zhu Minglang quickly regains his composure, his gaze locking in with sharp, alert, and unwavering focus. His piercing eyes stare intensely at a glowing dark pearl shrouded in a swirling vortex of sinister black and red energy. His eyes sharpen with deep curiosity as he examines the spirit pearl, feeling a mix of surprise and genuine interest. This spirit pearl still holds the raw energy of a dragon's transformation, making it absolutely perfect for helping a spiritual beast leap through the dragon gate. Zhu Minglang carefully weighs the current situation, looking serious and slightly disappointed. It is a shame the hostile energy is too heavy for my dragon, so I will just have to sell it. Nan Lingsha casually turns around to leave, telling him that since they are finished, it is time to head back. As they head back, the peaceful scenery of distant mountains and endless blue skies surrounds them. Suddenly, Ingo Fong spots the two of them and stops in surprise, voicing a gentle scolding that shows his worry, wanting to remind them of their duties, asking why they just sneaked away from the group. Zhu Minglang remains highly serious, his tense face showing how deeply he cares about the issues at hand. Senior brother, you are incredibly wise and knowledgeable, so I actually have something important to ask you. Nan Lingsha and I found a strange altar on a hill where people were blinded and dumped into a pool of blood, likely for some blood sacrifice. No Fong explains the details, mentioning there is a demonic city worshipping the eyeless god, and its devoted followers are known as the eyeless cult. They believe that all violence, crimes, and sins stem from our eyes, claiming it is sight itself that corrupts human thoughts. He strokes his chin with a thoughtful frown, saying that of course, this is just their twisted way of explaining things. In reality, they force innocent people to join their ranks, stealing their eyes so they lose all self-control and ultimately become brainless slaves to the cult. Just look at how dark Zhu Minglang's face gets, realizing the gravity of this eyeless cult threat. Based on what he knows, the Li Zuyan continent still holds several backward, ignorant tribes, where malicious sects often manipulate fake miracles to extort massive amounts of wealth, while using the wicked doctrines of their evil god to thoroughly brainwash everyone. Worse still, these cults possess dark, forbidden arts that can grant their followers immense strength in a shockingly short period of time, turning ordinary folks into powerful dragon tamers or divine mortals, though the terrible price will damn their souls for eternity. Ngo Fong looks exceptionally grave and alert, his brow furrowed as if he is carefully weighing a matter of extreme importance. If you want to investigate this, we can head over to Bai City to rest. The eyeless cult has a major stronghold hidden right there. Zhu Minglang turns back to look at Tin Huar, who is huddled sadly in the background, his heart aching with deep concern and resolve. If they do not stop this, her terrible prophetic nightmares might never end, and he cannot bear to watch her suffer like this anymore. With cold, resolute eyes, Zhu Minglang declares that they will head straight to Bai City first, his voice dripping with solid determination. Ngo Fong nods thoughtfully, his brow furrowed as he carefully maps out their next moves. I will find the right moment to speak with the sword maidens of Michsan Kim Tong, since they surely cannot turn down a chance to wipe out the evil sect. His eyes flash with determination as his serious face shows he is highly focused and completely ready to act immediately, so he says, let us set out. As they head to Bai Then, Fang Yannian looks deeply anxious about the difficult situation waiting ahead. Oh no, we are running out of dragon food. But Zhu Minglang calmly points ahead, full of confidence as he offers a solution to their current problem. No worries, there is a market right up ahead, so we can probably buy some there. Her eyes sparkle with a bright, excited smile as she celebrates the good news, while Lanya stands before a massive iron gate, whip in hand, watching the group approach. Look here, soldiers transferred from thousands of miles away, and nobles too, along with all their servants, clansmen, and young ladies, all for just 100,000 gold. as Lung Do stands inside, clutching the iron bars in a cold sweat of utter shock. "General, look over there. Is that not the female commander Li Yunzi?" Huang Un looks closely and confirms that it really is her, and with a sudden spark of hope, he grips the iron bars tightly, desperate to beg for her help. He urges the general to beg her for help, now that Ancestral Dragon City State has established their nation on the supreme continent. Now she is the state preceptor of Li Zuain, but looking exhausted, the general falls silent before firmly rejecting the idea. "How could we do that, since we originally opposed her establishing a nation, and besides, we are nothing but outcasts now?" Huang Un's face is a mix of exhaustion and heartbreak, showing a deep inner conflict as he struggles with the torment of choosing between their honor and the very survival of their people. If it means our people can survive, what is wrong with bowing our heads and submitting? If the Lung family had not been so prideful and refused to support Li Yunzi's nation-building, their city would not have been crushed and their people enslaved. Inside the iron cage, the desperate prisoners cry out, "Lady Commander, please save us." Lanya turns furious and viciously swings his whip, roaring out, "What is all this noise about?" Tin Huar looks thoughtful, her gentle but resolute face showing she is weighing their options, as she suggests they go take a closer look. Zhu Minglang is clearly displeased, a flicker of hidden anger in his eyes as he asks, "Where did all these people come from?" The slave trader puts on a totally fake, sinister smile with narrowed eyes, acting extremely sycophantic while fully revealing his true, treacherous Li Zuan nature. He asks if the young master is interested, saying for just 100,000 gold, he can take all these refined ladies of the Lung family from Lungtiu City. Zhu Minglang makes a confused face, completely uninterested and responding with a hint of sarcasm. "The Lung family, sorry, but I have absolutely zero interest," Zhu Minglang says firmly, staring at the villains with sheer anger and an icy tone. "They are the scum who forced Li Yunzi to be a concubine, so let us just look the other way." But Vorgia pulls out a glowing gem, her calm yet resolute eyes filled with determination as she prepares to make her move. She says, "I will buy them," leaving Zhu Minglang completely shocked with his jaw dropping at her sudden decision. His mind is totally blown here, that is 100,000 gold, and she did not even blink an eye. With a sly look, Lanya bows low with a sycophantic grin, completely humbling himself to flatter her. He exclaims, "You truly have great taste. These are top-tier slaves, so where should we deliver them?" Pointing calmly with commanding authority, she instructs them to take them back to Li Zuyen and tell the Nam clan in Ancestral Dragon City State that these people are now servants. Vergia holds up a gold bar, her face deadly serious with a sharp gaze and a cold, chilling smile. She warns if even a single person dies or goes missing on the road, "I will level your entire slave camp." Cradling the gold in his hands, he eagerly assures her that everything will be perfect, promising there will absolutely be no mistakes. "We do this for a living, so we guarantee absolute perfection," as Zhu Minglang gives a forced laugh, sweat beads forming on his forehead from sheer shock. His sister-in-law is seriously loaded, while the freed prisoners bow deeply, showing their endless respect and promising their lifelong loyalty. They endlessly thank the Lady Commander and promise to work like beasts of burden to repay her kindness, while the group stands tall with serious, solemn expressions. Crossing his arms over his chest, Zhu Minglang radiates a strong sense of authority and power. He commands Lung Do, "Come over here. I have a few things to ask you," leaving the man looking anxious and clearly terrified. "Master, please ask," he responds, as Zhu Minglang looks determined to find the brutal truth. He demands, "Tell me, have you recently seen a group of slaves dragged outside the city walls to be executed? Some were even brutally tortured with their eyes gouged out, causing Lung Do to break into a cold sweat, his wide eyes filled with pure terror as his voice shakes to tell the tale. 3 days ago, a group of slaves fled toward the east, but they were reportedly captured and immediately executed, though I do not know if their eyes were gouged out." Standing tall with his arms crossed, his cold, serious face radiates pure authority as he asks, "Whose slaves were they?" He meets a desperate man with anxious eyes and respectfully clasped hands, likely someone from the Long Nya camp. But even if those slaves did not run, death was their only end. Zhu Minglang feels highly suspicious, wondering why Lung Do looks so incredibly stressed with his exhausted, sweaty face and deeply hesitant eyes. "Master, once we reach Hubi, you will understand." He warns that Hubi is heavily guarded, his face looking pretty exhausted while his uneasy eyes betray deep anxiety. Since Hubi is packed with guards, it is much better if we slip in after night falls. Zhu Minglang wears a dead serious look, his deep, heavy eyes showing that he is weighing something extremely grave. Right now, he is fully aware of the grim tragedy facing those runaway slaves. A group was probably caught near the hills and slaughtered by the Wumu sect as a twisted ritual sacrifice. Zhu Minglang slightly knits his brows, his sharp, calculating gaze highlighting the deep suspicion growing in his mind. But why on earth did Lung Do claim those slaves could never have survived anyway? Under the pitch-black sky, Vorsa looks pretty annoyed as she demands answers in a sharp tone, asking what they are even looking for in this darkness. Sweat rolls down his cheek as he glances away nervously, his uneasy eyes clearly showing how awkward he feels. Zhu Minglang looks quite exhausted and lost, the cold sweat dripping down his face, betraying his helpless frustration in this complex, messy situation. These slaves apparently did not sell, but can Nanlingsha not wait to swap them later? Now he has to explain everything to Vorsa all over again. Wearing a dead serious look, he raises his hand to command silence as they arrive, staying highly alert. Zhu Minglang is completely tense, focusing every bit of his attention on his surroundings. With a sharp gaze and slightly furrowed brow, he quickly calculates his options to handle whatever nightmare comes next. This thick stench of blood makes the area feel quite gloomy and tense. A massive stone tablet stands on the barren ground under dead trees, creating a chilly, creepy vibe. The smell is coming from behind it, so let us go take a look. This is where it gets incredibly tense. As the two creep closer to that massive monument, they look utterly microscopic next to it. Zhu Minglang and Vorsa hide behind it and peek out, only for their eyes to widen as their faces turn pale. Their brows furrow in sheer shock at the sickening sight before them. Behind that giant tablet is a pool of fresh blood, packed with massive, writhing leeches crawling over naked human bodies scattered throughout the lake. One victim is actually still alive, raising a trembling hand and screaming in agony as a monster leech crawls closer. "Somebody help me!" Zhu Minglang looks on with uneasy eyes, his tense face showing he knows things are pretty serious. There is actually a leech dragon lurking inside that pool. Judging by the situation, this beast has already reached the strength of a high-tier lord rank. Standing behind him, Vorsa covers her mouth, unable to stomach the sight as she tells him she cannot take this anymore. He looks over, fully realizing the gravity of their situation. Beneath the blood, the prisoner reaches up in a final plea, while groups of black-robed guards stand watch all around the perimeter. She urgently whispers that they need to escape this dangerous place, telling him they must leave immediately. But he just looks back, his sharp eyes filled with deep suspicion, and his brow slightly furrowed in high alertness. Back in a brightly lit tower during the quiet night, a caring voice asks what is wrong with her sister. Her sister notes that her face looks quite pale. Vorsa hides her deep disgust and tries her best to reassure everyone. Although she cannot fully hide her shaken expression, she says it is nothing. She just saw something pretty disgusting earlier. Tinhua looks at her with worried, slightly knitted brows, showing her clear unease as she asks Vorsa what they saw. Vorsa's eyes turn extremely grave as she begins to explain exactly what happened. At the mountain shrine, they saw blood leeches devouring each other, using blood and resentment to evolve into dragons. Hearing this, Tinhua's eyes grow heavy. Her lips part in absolute shock, her golden eyes filled with confusion and deep anxiety, as she whispers that this is exactly like her dream. Vorsa slightly lowers her head, her eyes filled with a heavy, serious look of contemplation. Yet she keeps her composure while explaining the horrific sight, stating that behind the giant tablet lies a massive cauldron resembling an underworld basin. It gathers countless evil leech dragons born from its depths, and she fears it has already spawned a massive blood leech evil dragon. A pale hand slams violently onto the table. With sharp, murderous eyes, Ngofong asks if the Wumu sect is behind this again. He begins connecting all these dangerous clues together. Exuding pure majesty with a stern face, Tanan openly shows his absolute anger, declaring that this vile cult must be wiped out entirely. Zhu Minglang looks on, quite surprised and full of questions. Mornyu steps up and introduces the man as Herr Marshal Uncle, Bark Tunan, who ran into them during his travels, and is now heading back to the Miaoshan sword sect with them. Ngofong remains deeply silent, his face filled with heavy thought. His direct gaze and slightly furrowed brow make it pretty clear that he is hesitating. These guys are seriously cunning because they only target slaves, leaving us without any legitimate excuse to wipe them out. Just then, Tunlone appears, looking incredibly powerful and commanding. With sharp eyes and her face partially hidden behind a mask, she exudes absolute mystery and pure determination as she directly takes action. She warns that the No-Eye sect members might not show up at all, leaving the three sitting at the table completely stunned and quite confused by her sudden arrival. Tunlone clasps her hands respectfully, her intensely serious eyes flashing with absolute resolve as she steps forward to deliver her report. She reports, "Young master, put the No-Eye sect aside. We have a far more critical threat to worry about right now." Zhu Minglang demands more details. She looks quite tense and anxious, revealing just how serious this news is, while her slightly narrowed eyes show extreme alertness and deep underlying worry. Prince An and Trioquan, Kak have deployed a squad of death squads led by Harhung Thirn, tracking your every move to kidnap you and threaten Bui State. Zhu Minglang listens with a cold face and intense gaze, completely exuding the powerful aura of a true strategic leader. Over in Bui State, his father is currently training an elite black armor army, a force powerful enough to completely crush any of the great sects or major clans. Is Prince An trying to cause trouble, or does he actually want to drag the elite black armor army under his own command? He looks incredibly sharp as a cold gaze meets a faint smirk. The Hauer family is basically being used as a shield, since those death warriors have no official identity, meaning if they get caught, in the end, only the Haro family will take the fall. Zhu Minglang narrows his eyes with a faint smile, looking exactly like a genius who is always several steps ahead of his enemies. Meanwhile, Prince An and Trio Kwang Kok can comfortably hide in the shadows. Talk about a pretty dirty play, but watch how quickly Tun Lone steps up, completely ready to handle this threat without any hesitation. She vows, "Young master, those death warriors will never see tomorrow's sun again." He casually sits down, completely calm as he asks, "By the way, did you manage to find the traitor who leaked the news about me leaving the city?" She bows low to deliver a very precise report. "We found the culprit. It is the butler serving the Musan sword sect disciples inside the royal courtyard." Moknyu looks down, her face soft but showing clear worry as her eyes fill with guilt before she confesses, "We actually talked about our plans right in front of that butler. Sorry, senior brother Truk. We were just far too careless." Zhu Minglang looks at them with a very calm and resolute expression, showing he prioritizes the big picture as he says, "Forget it. Tomorrow night we check behind that stone tablet." Tun Lone frowns heavily, her tense expression showing a mix of extreme anger and intense alertness. She asks, "So they want to use a borrowed blade to kill us?" She then bows deeply, hands clasped with a sharp, unwavering gaze as she accepts her orders. "Your subordinate will handle it immediately," she says, before vanishing into thin air like evaporating mist. Only a puff of white smoke remains where she just stood. Nirmdirn looks incredibly curious and surprised, her face calm but her brow furrowed in deep thought as she wonders, "How come I have never seen this big sister before?" Zhu Minglang remains quite indifferent, revealing that even they are not very close by saying, "Honestly, I do not get to see her that often either." Her eyes go wide and her mouth drops open in complete disbelief, looking totally stunned by his casual response. "It turns out we actually had a secret guardian protecting us this entire journey." He smirks confidently, cracking his knuckles with a very sharp look in his eyes as he speaks. But once we step outside the royal capital, that protection is completely gone. Back over at the stone ruins, a group of barefoot captives in ragged clothes stands heavily chained, their wrists locked tight in cold iron cuffs linked by thick metal chains. Look at how creepy this place is, with nothing but dead branches stretching over the dark ground. Zhu Minglang is wearing a dark hooded cloak that partially conceals his face, but his cold, sharp gaze shines through clearly, revealing his growing annoyance and anger. Suddenly, a mysterious group cloaked in solid black emerges, their hidden faces casting a heavily ominous vibe over the area. One reports, "Sect leader, the new batch of slaves is here." The sect leader of the No-Eye sect grips a lethal dagger, standing tall and majestic, completely radiating the aura of a mysterious, all-powerful ruler. With some dark dirt smeared across his face for camouflage, his eyes look extremely sharp and suspicious of these No-Eye sect members. Deep inside the camp, a heavily chained captive is kneeling with his head bowed, visibly shaking in pure despair as he begs, "Please, spare my life, my lord." The cruel sect leader slashes his blade clean across the man's eyes, splattering blood as a sickening, evil smirk spreads across his face. He whispers with a savage laugh, "Do not be afraid. The pain will vanish quickly," before coldly sending him to join the embrace of the legendary No-Eye god. Clutching his bleeding, freshly slashed eyes, the poor victim screams in pure agony, completely overcome by absolute agony and sheer panic. His mouth drops open as he screams out, "Save me," just as a fully masked subordinate approaches to deliver a message. "Let us help you, my lord." He sneers, his tongue darting out with a sickening, sadistic grin of pure pleasure. "No need," he replies, "when it comes to things like this, I prefer a personal touch." He sticks his tongue out to lick the blade, his eyes cold and terrifying, absolutely loving the thrill of raw violence. "Back in the day, I was just a clumsy pedicurist who accidentally drew a tiny drop of blood from a noble's toe, so he ordered his guards to gouge out my eyes. At first, I was clumsy at ripping eyes out, and my victims screamed in agony. But over time, my skills improved. The eyeball would rest on my blade before they felt any pain." Hearing those horrific words, the captives stare in absolute dread. Zhu Minglang tightly clenches his fist, boiling with sheer anger. Those monsters could easily just end these slaves, but instead, they want to tear their eyes out while they are still alive. These sick bastards are totally twisted. Trapped between two black-robed figures, Zhu Minglang demands with pure disgust, "Can you not wait until they are dead to do that?" The Vomuk cult leader towers over a collapsed prisoner, a razor-sharp blade in hand as he looms like a total nightmare.